Bellator returns with a bang. He took down the Russian legend. Now heavyweight champion Ryan Darth Bader faces Fedor's protege, interim champ Valentin Moldavsky.
Moldavsky pouring it on.
And he looks to start a new Russian dynasty.
Just like that!
Bellator MMA, live tonight on Showtime, where warriors rule.
It is the weekend, and while it is less than zero in parts of the United States, it is a balmy winter's night here in the Valley of the Sun. Bellator MMA returning to the Footprint Center in Phoenix for Bellator 273. And as we welcome you inside the home of the Phoenix Suns, the hottest team in the NBA, the league leaders having won their 9th straight last night, well, we bring the heat with Bellator MMA. And coming up in tonight's main event, Ryan Bader will defend the heavyweight crown against Valentin Moldavsky. Bader looking to bounce back after being ignominiously ejected from the light heavyweight Grand Prix in this building in his adopted hometown. Moldavsky a perfect 6-0 under the Bellator MMA banner. Also coming up tonight, the pride of Phoenix, Benson Henderson. The decorated career of Hendo lies, well, it hangs in the balance. He's in the midst of his first 3-fight losing streak. He takes on the number 7 ranked Islam Mammadov, unbeaten in his last 20. That fight at 155. Crossroads clash at featherweight. The double tough Henry Corrales against the towering 145er from Birmingham, England, Aiden Lee. And hey, the matchmakers knew what they were doing when putting together the first main card bout of 2022. Sabah Homasi, who was involved in the 2021 Bellator MMA Fight of the Year, albeit a loss against Paul Daly. He's looking to snap that 2-fight losing streak against Jaleel Willis, looking to bounce back from his first Bellator loss in welterweight action. So much to come on Showtime, so much to come your way right now. The undefeated Sullivan Cauley squares off, well, with a man who made a big splash in his Bellator debut, Big Tuna, Ben Parish.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome our first fighter to the cage. This is the Big Tuna, Ben Parish.
Parish proved every underdog has his day in his Bellator MMA debut. To paraphrase Pulitzer winner Kendrick Lamar, Big Tuna's left strike went viral. He humbled the highly touted and previously unbeaten Christian Edwards in just 38 seconds. John, Parish treated Edwards like he was one of the Twitter troglodytes who sent Parish mean tweets. Showed the world you should never judge a dad bod by its cover.
Boy, you cannot, because you saw the skill and technique of that beautiful combo that he threw in that left hook. Everything is about timing and accuracy. This man has it. He can fight, and he expects a big win here tonight.
Still looking to earn a Bellator MMA contract. And hey, that dad bod looking a little bit better, I must say, here in his second appearance in the Bellator MMA cage.
And now we welcome his opponent, Sullivan Cauley.
Nice round of applause from the partisan crowd here in Phoenix. Sullivan Cauley fighting out of Mesa, Arizona. ASU alum, along with his mentor Ryan Bader, who will be defending the heavyweight title, as we mentioned, in the main event. His second straight appearance here at the Footprint Center. Both of his wins within Bellator have come by first-round knockout.
That's because he has the full game. He's got great wrestling, but he's got power in his hands. He's got good stand-up. Look at him just dismantle his opponent. This guy, when you're talking about a prospect, this guy's got it all.
It was a buzzer beater finish in his most recent outing at Bellator 268, where Dion Clash was rocked like the Casbah.
Very simply put, as you look at this, Sullivan Cauley 2-0, Ben Parish 5-1, and that one loss, Moro, was only because he broke his leg with a kick, a la an Anderson Silva type injury. This is a great matchup.
Let's go to Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Footprint Center here in Phoenix, Arizona, as we kick off 2022 inside the Bellator cage with 3 5-minute rounds in the light heavyweight division. Introducing the blue corner. At 6 foot, weighing in 205.2 pounds. His professional record, 5 wins, 1 loss, from Pontotoc, Mississippi, Ben Big Tuna Parish. And across the cage, his adversary fighting out of the red corner. At 6 foot 3, weighing in 205.9 pounds. As a professional, he's undefeated early on at 2-0, fighting out of Mesa, Arizona, Sullivan Cauley. And when the bell rings, the referee in charge, Mike Beltran.
The first Bellator MMA bout of 2022, the 3,026th fight in the promotion's 13-year history. Appreciate the folks at Shurdog for tallying the amount.
Gentlemen, first round.
Glad someone could.
You ready to fight? You ready to fight? Handle, let's go.
First kick delivered by Parish, 5-1. All 5 victories inside the distance, none bigger than his debut, as he is taken down by Sullivan Cauley. And of course, we knew that Cauley was going to try to take him down.
Smart move for Cauley to take him down, because Parish on his feet, he will throw kicks, punches from all kinds of angles.
Parish on his back throwing elbows.
This is exactly where Sullivan Cauley wants to be. Control your opponent, start to put pressure on him, just start to wear him down.
Crowd chanting Cauley again. Wrestler at Arizona State University, making his home in Mesa and working from side control early in round 1.
Nice job by Sullivan Cauley to control that position. You saw, though, that Ben Parish, when he turned, look at that underhook he got on that side, but he wants to get it on the other side. He wants to get that right arm underhook. That will help get him up off of his back.
Parish desperately trying to activate his hits. Cauley doing a good job of keeping Parish neutralized. But now it's incumbent on Cauley to do what he's doing there, deliver some shots.
And just keep doing it. Don't worry about putting him out with one big shot. Just keep volume striking while you're on the ground. Every now and then mix in the big shot, mix in the elbows. That's what he's going to go after.
Talk about growing by leaps and bounds, gets to train with the Bellator heavyweight champion Ryan Bader. And John, you talk about why an MMA neophyte would prove beneficial to Bader at this stage of his decorated career. We know that Cauley can gain a lot working with Bader. What does Bader get from it?
When you're taking a look at someone like Ryan Bader and all of the experience that he has, sometimes, you know, you can lose that energy, that flow. A guy like Sullivan Cauley comes in, you're the one giving him experience, and he's giving you that energy. He's there giving all that young, you know, blood as far as I want to be here. That energizes you.
Well, Parish dealing with Cauley's energy early, but Parish very active from his back. Parish trying to secure the double wrist lock.
Parish going after that Kimura hold, but he's not in a real position to pull it out. It's not a strong area for him based upon his body position, but at least he has slowed down what Sullivan Cauley can do because of this.
And Cauley drawing the first blood of 2022 inside the Bellator MMA cage, and continuing to work from the back, driving those right hands under the armpit of Ben Parish to his face.
Well, you can tell that Sullivan Cauley has learned something from Ryan Bader. Take a look at that lacing of the arm. with his left arm. He's controlling the left arm of Ben Parish, so he can just wail away with one hand, only having one hand for Ben Parish to block with.
Effective ground and pound from the unbeaten Sullivan Cauley. Less than 2 minutes left here in the first frame. Cauley said he wants to continue to showcase his growth, and he wants to take some of Ben Parish's thunder after Parish went viral with that memorable Bellator MMA debut.
Beautiful mount by Coleman Sully right there, and he's right. Ben Parish got a lot of press.
Oh, takes the hook out.
Ben Parish will come up. Nice scrambling and nice use of his head as a third arm. Beautiful job by Sullivan Cauley to force him back down to the canvas.
Parish has had to overcome myriad obstacles like so many fighters, like all of us, but health issues, injuries, family duties, and a full-time job role. He is hoping to continue to build on what happened in his Bellator MMA debut, but he is being dominated and suffocated by Sullivan Cauley here in the first round.
Sullivan is doing an outstanding job. Heavy hip pressure. Doesn't have that hook right now, but it's a heavy hip pressure that's keeping Ben Parish where he's at. A lot of damage done by Sullivan Cauley in this round. This is exactly what you want to see out of him. Ben Parish is going to have to start to move.
Well, it's obvious that Sullivan Cauley has overcome his performance anxiety and fears of not competing like he can because he was brilliant tonight. Sullivan Cauley is 3-0 as a pro, and here in Bellator MMA makes short work of Ben Parish, and Parish suffers his second setback.
That was an outstanding performance by Sullivan Cauley. Did exactly what you would expect out of him. Take a look at some of this action here. Ben Parish comes after him, throws that kick, and it's to the body. It's caught off of that. Look at the trip. Beautiful takedown by Sullivan Cauley. Little grab of the cage there to control the position because Parish was trying to roll through with it and then just opened up at the end. And the problem is his hand is caught by the right hand of Sullivan Cauley, so he's only got one hand to defend with. He's trying to block, but he can't improve the position in any way to stop what's occurring, and that's why referee Mike Beltran comes in and puts a stop to it.
Bellator MMA heavyweight champion Ryan Bader very high on Sullivan Cauley, and we continue to see why. He is now 3-0 with 3 first-round KOs.
All the stress, all the nerves, I wouldn't fucking trade him.
And Ben Parish, well, he did what he had to do going into this fight, got into better shape, but unfortunately is now 1-1 here in Bellator MMA as he gets finished for the first time. He had suffered a TKO setback, but as John mentioned, that was due to a leg injury. This time, he gets stopped by the rising Sullivan Cauley, just 25 years of age, still very much in the embryonic stages of his professional mixed martial arts career.
Sorry, man, I ain't quit. I ain't no bitch.
Let's go to Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, inside the Bellator cage, referee Mike Beltran steps in, waves off the contest due to unanswered strikes. Official time, 4 minutes, 35 seconds. Round number 1, the winner by TKO, still undefeated, Sullivan Cauley.
Let's go to Big John McCarthy.
Good job, stud.
Thank you.
Good job. Ladies and gentlemen, I am here with your winner, Sullivan Cauley. Sullivan, you came into this match knowing that Ben Parish was a tough guy, a guy that would take a lot of abuse. You utilized your wrestling and your ground pressure and your big strikes. Are you happy with the beginning of 2022 and your performance here?
I couldn't be happier. This is perfect. My first 2 professional fights, I did a lot of striking, showed everybody I'm a good boxer, a good Muay Thai fighter. You know, if you paid attention to my history, you know I'm a wrestler, and I'm happy I got to show that in this fight. Whoever's fighting me next, they're going to have a hard time finding a weak spot, I think.
You come from Power MMA. You're working out with guys like Ryan Bader all the time. How much of an effect and influence has that had on your career and what you're able to do in this cage?
It's huge. You saw what I did on top. A half guard, roll the wrist. That's Ryan Bader all day and night. You know, that's where I learned that from. And we're going to see him bust it out in that Russian tonight. Let's go.
Sounds good to me. That was an outstanding start to 2022. Cannot wait to watch you again. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Sullivan Cauley.
Arizona's Sullivan Cauley. Hey, Footprint Center here in Phoenix proving to be friendly confines thus far. He is 2-0 in this building, 3-0 as a pro. Let's go to Amanda Guerra.
Moro, thank you so much. Amanda Guerra, Josh Thompson with you here on the fight desk. We will be with you all night. The hometown kid, Josh, getting the win. What a way to begin the night.
He wasn't sleeping on Big Tuna tonight. He was letting everybody know that, hey, I got the remedy for him, and it was the wrestling.
You made fun of me when I said he reeled in Big Tuna, but it's okay because I thought it was a funny
actually
joke.
just went over my head.
Yeah, we're used to that. All right, let's talk about the main event we got coming up tonight. Look, he gets the win. Maybe Ryan Bader fighting in front of his hometown, he'll get the win. He wants to defend that title, but he is going up against a guy who has not lost since 2016 in Valentin Moldavsky. What can we expect in this tonight?
You're going to see fireworks. It's really going to come down to who can implement their game plan the most. If Ryan Bader can keep his back off the fence and circle and move around, I think he's going to have a great chance and use his blast double to get that takedown and try to ride him out like Sullivan Cauley did tonight to Big Tuna. If he can do that, Ryan Bader will have a successful night. But Moldavsky, different animal. He gets into that phone booth. He fights you with that dirty box. He makes it a grimy fight. Hangs on you, puts pressure on you, picks the pace up a little bit in those later rounds, and uses that body lock. Once he locks those hands, he's taking you for a ride.
Ryan Bader coming back up to heavyweight. You and Big John have said, look, you should have stayed in this division the entire time. When will you know if he feels comfortable?
Well, going down to the light heavyweight World Grand Prix, the reason why, the money. The money does it all. So when he decided to go down there, no one knocked him for that. But coming back, this is where he belongs. And I think you won't see him go back down. This is where he's going to finish his career at the heavyweight division. I think it's best for him. I saw him. He looked happy all week. He's got a smile on his face. Being miserable his whole life cutting weight as a wrestler, and then now not having to worry about the weight cut, and he's a hybrid heavyweight. This is perfect for him.
He doesn't have to cut the weight. I mean, by all means, that's a nice place to be. We're going to be with you again all night. There's a lot to unpack tonight. It is a stacked main card, but for now, let's send it back down tomorrow with the rest of the prelims.
All right, Amanda, cage side, a great place to be as we get ready for Lucas Brennan against Ben Lugo. Brennan undefeated as a pro here in Bellator MMA. Lugo about to make his Bellator debut.
And now ready to make his way to the cage, Ben Lugo.
32-year-old Ben Lugo fighting out of Greeley, Colorado by way of Fajardo, Puerto Rico, also home of 140-pound boxing contender Subriel Matias. Looks sensational in avenging his lone loss against Petros Ananyan on Showtime Championship Boxing last weekend. But Lugo, he is making his Bellator debut, having suffered his first loss in his last 5 fights. Wants to make the most of this opportunity against a kid who really looks like a blue-chip prospect in Brennan.
Oh, no doubt about Brennan being a blue-chip prospect, but I'm telling you right now, Lugo has got a lot of skills. In his last fight, yes, it was a loss, but it was a loss in the LFA against a guy that was undefeated, really super fighter in Levy. He put on a great fight, majority decision loss. It happens. He's here to prove he belongs in Bellator.
And now, making his way, Lucas Skywalker Brennan.
Just 21 years of age, Lucas Brennan representing the newest generation of MMA, a second-generation fighter. His father, Chris, the West Side Strangler Brennan. I think to this day, the only fighter to have 2 submission wins in 1 fight. My first fight in Pride of Bushido against Eiji Matsuoka. We'll get to that story later, but the story now is Lucas Brennan, 5-0, John, coming off a rare Anaconda choke victory And in fact, his forearm choke win over Jacob Landon at Bellator 233, the first of its kind in Bellator history.
Yeah, he is a phenomenal prospect. Unbelievable ground skills. That's because of his dad. Take a look at what he does here. This is again Matt Skibicki. Skibicki goes for the takedown right away, and it's the transitions of Lucas Brennan. Right here, hits that anaconda and keeps with it no matter where Skibicki went. He was able to just continue with the pressure, continue bringing his body and allowing his weight to ride into that choke. Beautiful job by Lucas Brennan.
Another example of why Brennan achieved a BJJ black belt status at the tender age of 18. His father, Chris, giving him final instructions.
Really nice record there for Lucas Brennan and everything, but it's the 21 years of age and where he's at already. That says a lot. 32 years of age. Hopefully that experience for Ben Lugo and what he's been through is going to shine for him against Lucas Brennan tonight.
Here's Michael C. Williams.
Welcome to all those joining us tonight live in the UK on BBC iPlayer as we get set here at Bellator 273 to go 3 5-minute rounds in the featherweight division. Introducing first the blue corner at 5'10", weighing in 146 pounds. His professional record 5-4, fighting out of Greeley, Colorado, Ben Lugo. And across the cage, his adversary, fighting out of the red corner at 5'10", weighing in 145.4 pounds. The undefeated professional brings 5 victories, no defeats. He fights out of Frisco, Texas, Lucas Skywalker Brennan. In charge of the action, your referee, Jason Herzog.
Round. Fighter, you ready? Fighter, you ready? Fight!
Well, and the opening round, the southpaw Brennan bouncing up and down, trying to disrupt Lugo early. Lugo with more experience, winner of 4 of his last 5. Almost knocked out Nathan Levy in the second round of his last fight.
He had Levy very hurt, but what he's got a 4-inch reach advantage in this. So if he can keep Lucas to the outside and land beautiful right hands like he just did, that's his key to victory right here.
Brennan with the body lock early, puts Lugo against the fence. Lugo with the underhook, to pummel, jockey for position. Brennan wrestled at the University of North Texas.
And that's right, it's that wrestling base that he also has besides the jiu-jitsu, that he's able to use those transitions that a lot of guys don't have. He can go from that wrestling aspect into the submission aspect, and he does it very seamlessly, and that's what makes him dangerous when he gets a hold of you like this.
Brennan dragging Lugo to the ground. Lugo scrambling, looking to reverse position. A nice battle here.
High head usually wins this position right here. That's when you see Lugo in a position, though, just almost a schoolyard.
Yeah, remember, Brennan can pull out submissions from anywhere. Got the takedown, Lugo on his back.
Nice job by Brennan, not just to hold it. He used the position as you saw Lugo trying to pull himself out, took that energy and drove into him, bringing him back down to the canvas.
Was that bulldog choke that made Carlos Newton the first Canadian to win a major MMA championship, beating Pat Miletich?
Pat Miletich does not like you for that.
It's okay. Pat will understand. Shout out to my former broadcast partner here on Showtime. Coming up on 2 minutes gone in the opening frame, and Lucas Brennan continues to show why they're so high. He's known as Skywalker after all.
Well, this is the one position. Look how he's starting to set up that choke. Now he's in top. You see that arm to the side. Boy, it's a beautiful use of technique right here. That squeeze is on. This is not going to be easy for Ben Lugo to stay with. He is in trouble. He's trying to push on that arm to give him a little bit of space. Get some air in there. Yep. There it is. And beautiful job by Lucas Brennan.
Lucas Brennan. You see why His ceiling is sky high, 6-0 with his 4th submission win. And he is definitely, at the age of 21, someone to keep your eyes on, adding another choke to his list of them. Anaconda choke, forearm choke, rear naked choke, and take us through to this choke, Johnny.
Through what we're going to see right here, a lot of people aren't going to understand this is an arm triangle choke. It's just done from a position that most people cannot hit this from. This is what makes Lugo. Just take a look at the scramble and look at what we have going on. Off of this takedown, everything that occurred, these are the, when we talk about that levels in the belts and you get to black belt, it's your ability to transition from one element to the next, and that's what Brennan does so well. Look how he gets the hook, and then as Lugo's trying to get out, take a look at this. You see that arm over here, even though it looks like it's a guillotine, it's an arm triangle choke that he puts on him because his arm is in that position where it's pressing against the neck. That's why he gets the tap. That is an outstanding submission victory by Brennan.
His father, Chris, looking on.
Sit down, right there. Yeah!
Right there, he knows.
Assassin, baby! Fucking assassin!
He definitely is a cold-blooded assassin when it comes to the ground game. He really is painting a lot of masterpieces on the canvas early in his career. An unorthodox arm triangle choke, a rear naked choke, the first forearm choke in Bellator MMA history. And coming into this fight, he was fresh off an anaconda choke. So Lucas Brennan displaying all kinds of skills early on in his career as we go to Michael C. Williams to make it official.
Ladies and gentlemen, the tap comes by way of an arm triangle. Official time, 2 minutes, 27 seconds into round number 1. The winner by submission, still undefeated, Lucas Skywalker Brennan.
Let's go to Big John McCarthy.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am here with the winner, Lucas Brennan. Lucas, it is the grappling arts that you are special in. It is what is your main bread and butter. It comes from your family and what you've grown up around. Talk to me about that submission and what you were seeing and what you were feeling, because it was the scramble and every move you took, you got a step ahead.
I live in that position, man, that assassin. It's assassin choke based off of Chandler Rogers, assistant coach for Little Rock Wrestling, OSU Wrestling D1, you know. And that's a pin, but you can turn it into a good arm in guillotine, and I've been perfecting that for a very long time.
Well, perfect it you did, because Ben Lugo did a great job of trying to scramble out of the positions. When you got hit with that first right hand and he kind of looked at you and you went, no problem. Then you put him against the cage. From that point, once you got your hands on him, were you feeling more comfortable, more at home?
Yeah, you know, I mean, he came in with a good plan. He came in with a lot of commitment. You know, no one ever really pressures me or does anything about the pressure. So, you know, I was happy that he mixed things up a little bit for me. But, you know, he tried his best. You know, he was real strong. That cross didn't land real hard, but I registered it. And, you know, I'm happy I made him pay for it.
6-0 now in the Bellator cage. You've been improving with every fight. What is it we should see out of you next, or who should we see against you in this cage?
You're just gonna see me again, man. I'm not looking to call out anyone specific. I'm just I'm happy for the opportunity. I'm happy to be here, and I'm just happy you guys keep bringing me back. I'm happy to keep fighting for you guys, regardless who's in here.
Sounds good to me. Frisco, Texas, you got a killer there. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Lucas Skywalker Brennan.
Lucas Brennan said being able to finish fighters is always a way to make a name for yourself. He continues to build his reputation here in the Bellator MMA cage. First forearm choke in Bellator, now the first assassin's choke in Bellator. And Amanda, did I mention he's just 21?
Yeah, just 21 years old, and you know, up here on the fight desk, Josh cannot give me this ammo because he's telling me he was supposed to fight his dad, who we saw there cheering for him. How many times were you supposed to fight his dad?
I would say probably at least 4 or 5 times. We were scheduled to fight in all sorts of different promotions, and then we kept getting called up to the bigger promotion. It just was hilarious.
And now his son, 6-0, 21 years old. Do you feel old right now, Josh?
Yeah, just because of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I've done my job. I can go home for the night. But what a stud. What are you seeing from him at such a young age?
He's just gotten so much better from the first time I've seen him in the cage to now. The experience has played a big factor in being in the big stage, bright lights. It doesn't seem to bother him now. Even if you listen to his interview, he's very calm, composed, talks clearly, and just presents exactly what he did. It's a masterpiece. What he painted tonight was a masterpiece.
All right, so we got a co-main event coming up tonight, and it is absolutely incredible. So many storylines are woven into this one. We have Benson Henderson and Islam Mamedov, 2 guys, Josh, that you know very, very well. But I want to start with Benson Henderson here because we were talking about it during that last fight a little bit here and there because that was a really good fight. But he has been in title talks so much. It's dropped off a little bit. He says, I want this to propel me back into those title talks. How does he do that?
He's been the champion in every organization he's ever been in, and a multiple-time defending world champion. But that Bellator title has eluded him. He's fought several times for it. What came up short? He's fought at 170 here. Didn't have great performances there. He has had good fights in Bellator, but he hasn't been able to capture that world title. And that's really getting at him, but he's got to get back into those conversations and those talks. He fought Adam Piccolotti, he fought Miles Jury, he's fought Brent Primus, he's fought Michael Chandler. He's had great fights and very action-packed, but he's just come slightly short every single time. He needs to get back on track tonight.
Maybe a little bit extra motivation. We know that his kids, he has 4 kids. The 2 eldest, 4 and 6 years old, are going to be here watching him for the first time tonight.
How he gets any rest, that's what I want to know.
I mean, fighting's a selfish sport. We've talked about that, and he said, look, I want to be more selfish moving forward when it comes to what he does there in the cage. All right, let's talk about Islam Mamedov. He hasn't flossed in more than a decade. I mean, when you look at that record, how do you improve on that tonight? How do you get better?
I can tell you exactly how you get better. Like, in terms of his style and his technique, he's flawless, but he's got to open up a little bit more. He's got to be a little bit more of a crowd favorite. There's no doubt he's a dominant fighter. It shows in his record. He's phenomenal. I've trained with him for years. His takedowns, his clinch, as most people, they understand that watch the sport, is that when wrestlers out of Dagestan lock their hands, you're going for a ride. They're taking you, they're giving you a first-class airline ticket on Dagestan Airlines. Boom, you're going. Your feet are above your head and you're landing hard. And that's really what it comes down to. He needs to open up on top, though, if he wants to become a crowd favorite. If he starts letting go of the striking on top, more ground and pound, being more of a vicious striker on the feet, I think you're going to see him make a quick run to the title.
That is our co-main event. We got so much coming up tonight, though, here at Bellator 273. More prelim action after this. Hey, Bellator Nation, follow us across a large array of digital platforms and stay up to date on everything you need to know. Like us on the Bellator Facebook page and see exclusive videos. Follow us and get instant updates on Twitter at Bellator MMA and get a chance to have your tweet live on the broadcast. See amazing pictures on Instagram at Bellator MMA. Join Bellator Nation today. The new Bellator MMA app is here. New look, new features, new fights. Watch live weigh-ins and prelims. Share your fight picks. Earn points and badges as you rank up to the heavyweight division. And stay up to date on events, rankings, and news. For all the latest features, download the new Bellator MMA app. Available on the App Store and Google Play.
Bellator returns with a bang. He took down the Russian legend. Now heavyweight champion Ryan Darth Bader.
And it's over!
Faces Fedor's protege, interim champ Valentin Moldavsky.
Moldavsky pouring it on.
And he looks to start a new Russian dynasty.
Just like that!
Bellator MMA, live tonight on Showtime, where warriors rule.
Footprint Center, Phoenix, Arizona has been home to 2 prelim fights thus far here in 2022 for Bellator MMA and 2 first-round finishes. And we just saw 21-year-old Lucas Brennan show that the future is indeed bright. Well, we've got 23-year-old Nikita Mikhailov. Lots of hype with him as well. He takes on the veteran Blaine Shutt in a matchup at bantamweight.
And now we welcome our next fighter making his way to the cage, Blaine, the Shutdown Shutt.
Well, Blaine, the Shutdown Shutt was, unfortunately for he and his fan base, shut down in his Bellator MMA debut, losing to veteran Eric Perez via unanimous decision. He said it was a fun experience coming off a long layoff, jumping up a weight class to fight last minute. And he said he tore a ligament and fractured his ankle in the first 30 seconds. Needless to say, his first fight in Bellator didn't sound too fun.
It didn't sound fun at all, but he actually had some very good moments in that fight against a real veteran, Eric Perez, a guy that's been there and done it with a lot of promotions. This guy can wrestle. He's got a good submission game, even though he's not high ranked in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's pulled off a lot of big-time submissions with triangles and chokes, so he can do it.
Natural 125er, but here in Bellator, campaigning at 135.
And now making his way to the cage, Nikita Mikhailov.
I mentioned 23 years of age, teammates with Valentin Moldavsky, who will be challenging Ryan Bader for the heavyweight crown in the main event tonight. A member of a Fedor team, building up quite the camp. The legendary heavyweight Mikhailov on a 4-fight winning streak made his Bellator debut at Bellator 269 last October. Defeated double tough veteran Brian Moore via unanimous decision. He says he took away from that fight, John, that he needs to work more on his boxing.
Well, when you're talking about Brian Moore, that's a guy that I call the Irish Canelo. I mean, he's got incredible stand-up skills, beautiful body shots. But let's just be honest, in that matchup, Nikita Mikhailov just dominated Brian Moore throughout the first 2 rounds. Brian Moore kind of came back in the 3rd round, but Nikita was all over him throughout the first 2 rounds. Really put on a show. Beautiful wrestling, beautiful stand-up. This guy has got it all. He is a sharp stand-up fighter, great submission game. This kid's dangerous. I got to go back to what I'm talking about. This is what we're seeing now, Mauro. Take a look at this. You know, you could go through all the things, but it's the age. Look at the youth factor of the guys that are coming up and how good they are. This is going to be an incredible year in Bellator. 23 years of age to 29. Cannot wait.
It's time to once again hear from the incredible cage announcer, Michael C. Williams.
Tonight's Bellator 273 prelim streaming live on YouTube. We welcome those on both the Bellator MMA and Showtime Sports channels as we get set now inside the cage to go to the bantamweight division set for 3 5-minute rounds. Introducing the blue corner. At 5'7", weighing in 134 pounds even, his professional record, 8 wins, 5 losses, from Hummelstown, Pennsylvania, Blaine, the Shutdown Shutt. And across the cage is adversary fighting out of the red corner at 5'8", weighing in 135.6 pounds as a professional. 8 victories, just 1 loss. Fighting out of Stadiholsko, Russia, presenting Nikita Mikhailov. In charge of the action, referee Mike Beltran.
Bantamweight battle scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds.
All right, gentlemen.
Mikhailov versus Shutt.
You ready to fight? You ready to fight? Hell, let's go.
Mikhailov's lone loss coming via triangle choke, noteworthy because, and already tagging Shutt. I was going to say Shutt is known for his submissions, including 2 by triangle choke, and Shutt is now trying to take Mikhailov down. Mikhailov having nothing to do with it, John.
Mikhailov actually being very accurate with some of these shots. Shutt needs to come up with if he gets into an Iranian lift right here, now brought his head out. I am telling you, Nikita's got power at 135 pounds. I've watched this guy fight many times, and he is great in the stand-up. Good power, great submissions. He's got the full game.
His only 2 knockout wins came in his first 2 professional fights, but again, still growing as a fighter, just 23 years of age, his 10th professional fight. 1-0 in Bellator, while Shutt looking to bounce back from a loss in his Bellator debut, and a minute already gone, plenty of grappling.
And a great job right there. You saw Shutt with the S-grip, thinking he has the body lock. Beautiful inside reaping of the leg, right to the top position. We'll see what Mikhailov does now that he has him on the ground and he's in his guard.
In the corner, Vadim Nemkov, the Fedor Emelianenko.
Anatoly Tokov there with Fedor. Anatoly does a lot of training with Mikhailov based upon his brother also being on Team Fedor.
Fedor team has the light heavyweight championship in its camp. Vadim Nemkov wresting that from around the waist of Ryan Bader. They'll try to take the heavyweight crown in tonight's main event when Valentin Moldavsky challenges Bader for the title.
And what you're seeing with Shutt, you're seeing him with this figure 4 body lock, but this is not a position for him to lock his opponent down. If he was still hurt from the shot or anything like that, I can understand it. But right now, you're holding a guy on top of you that he wants to be there, and he's the one that's actually doing the big shots. He's the one that's actually controlling when these things occur. Don't hold him on. Open it up to guard just like you're seeing right now, and let's try to move, either get that sweep, get the reversal, or get up back up to your feet. A lot of people are going to look and say, well, this is a good thing with the guillotine. Look, it's not. You don't squeeze hard there because it's not set up the right way. You're not going to make it work. That was good for him just to not put a lot of pressure on it.
So I'd mentioned Shutt, 6 of his 8 victories by submission, including 2 via triangle choke. So he's comfortable off his back, but it's up to Mikhailov to make sure he doesn't stay comfortable.
Yeah, well, what Mikhailov wants to do is keep riding his head. See how his head's up towards the, Shutt's head. Now Shutt's doing that also. He's coming up looking for that sweep. But Mikhailov, that's where his power will be. If he gets his head down too low, it's hard to swing up and have a lot of power. Mikhailov is just looking towards passing the guard, taking his time. This is what you want to see, a 23-year-old who is not losing control, not sitting there and going too hard when he doesn't have to, and then bringing power shots like that.
Minute and a half remaining in the opening round. Mikhailov methodical from top position. Scramble underneath by Shutt. Now Mikhailov has Shutt by a waist lock. Shutt trying to wrist grapple and now being taken down again by Mikhailov, but back up to his feet goes Shutt.
And this is the second time. What Shutt is having problems with, he's having problems with the trips and the sweeps that you'll see a lot of Sambo guys very good with. Very nice knee by Mikhailov. Doesn't seem like, oh, that's that big a thing. Those hurt.
Under a minute left here in the opening round. Shutt looking for that sit-out switch. Instead, his legs have been neutralized by Mikhailov. Now the open. And Shutt, trying to hoist him up from there. 39 seconds left in the first round. Mikhailov controlling the action on the ground.
Yeah, see, if he could have kept his head to the outside, at least he can keep himself from being in a position where Mikhailov can deliver punches with power or anything like that. This is not a bad thing for Shutt. He's already lost the round, let's be honest. So just control the position, get yourself back to your feet at the end of the bell and come out and round.
Good thing for Shutt to take away. Didn't take a lot of damage despite being controlled on the ground.
Well, he took quite a bit of damage. Let's think about the first punch of the fight.
The first fight, but nothing on the ground. Nothing on the ground.
No, not much.
Considering. But definitely a round that belongs to Nikita Mikhailov. Trying to be more positive in 2022,
yes,
John.
I like that.
But it did begin with that first shot, and that will spell where the rest of this fight would take place in the first 5 minutes.
Absolutely. That one shot set everything up for Mikhailov as the rest of the round went on. Here is that shot. Straight right hand, right down the pipe. Shutt, he reacts to it. You can see he's hurt, but he's quickly gets himself back and quickly is smart in closing that distance.
He went down like a building implosions away, just stopped him dead in his tracks with that right hand.
But he recovered. Did the right thing by staying close, using the clinch to recover. Very smart by Blaine Shutt.
Hey, Blaine, wash your hands in the gloves, right? You got it?
Unofficial scorecard belongs to Big John McCarthy.
Unofficially, that round's an easy one. That's the easy 10-9 round for Mikhailov. If he had more action on the ground, it might have gone to a 10-8. Wasn't even close, though, 10-9.
All right, gentlemen, second round. Ready to fight? Ready to fight? Handle, let's go.
Mikhailov told us his biggest advantages in this fight: youth, versatility, and diversity, and we see that already on display in the second round. Started the first with a right hand, came back with a kick in the second.
Right kick.
And the ground control to Major Tom, John.
Yeah, you can take a look at that time. It's a big difference.
Big difference. Again, a dominant round in terms of the statistics, and I guess I should have clarified by saying the amount of physical damage that he could have taken in that round, but
no, you were right that he was able to at least nullify a lot of the ground attack that Mikhailov.
And he was active,
but he did take a lot of shots.
Sure. And now he delivers a body kick to Mikhailov. Mikhailov comes back, just misses with the right kick, partially blocked by Mikhailov. Southpaw now for Shutt. Right, and we talked about this, John. Nowadays, the new generation of MMA fighters, because of all the disciplines involved, you almost have to be able to switch stances. That's part of your game now. You have to go orthodox and southpaw.
Absolutely, especially when you're talking about all the low leg kicks and the calf kicks. If you can't fight from both stances, you could end up in a lot of trouble.
Looking to shut down Mikhailov here in the second, but from the guard, just putting the squeeze on Mikhailov.
That's tight. It's not that it's not tight. Now it's not.
And Mikhailov with the takedown, half guard, and Shutt has to be careful. Doesn't want to expend unnecessary energy in a low percentage submission.
There is no submission there at this point. He doesn't have the legs in a position to do it. You need to have your legs in a position to create pressure like you're seeing right there. But the problem is where his hands are, you can see it's not in a position to put pressure on that trach and front neck of Mikhailov.
Mikhailov trying to pop his head out and does so. Under 3 minutes left here in the second. Mikhailov working from the closed guard of Blaine Shutt.
If you're looking at one thing as far as Mikhailov, a mistake he keeps on making, take a look at that right hand sitting on the mat. You don't want to put your hands down to the mat because that's going to lead toward you possibly being arm barred. There's a lot of things that are bad about keeping your arms in that position. So you need to start thinking about towards the bicep or on the chest.
And Shutt neutralizing Mikhailov, trying to, he's got the body triangle from bottom to back, now controlling posture, but he needs to try to reverse. Try to stay active. Do not accept the position, as you always like to say, Big John.
And when you accept the position, that's not a good sign.
Oh, shoulder strikes.
To not get your guy off, that's a problem.
And now referee Mike Maltran asking them to improve their position. Under 2 minutes left in the second.
Gentlemen, action.
Mikhailov really needs to start working on not allowing his head to be drugged down.
You control the head, you control the body, and now some offense from the bottom by Shutt, not being able to generate any power from there. And now Mikhailov creating separation, couple of nasty elbow strikes to the face of Shutt.
Yeah, that was a big elbow strike. Nice shoulder shrug on him. That's just to make him try to move, but that elbow strike that he got hit with earlier, that hurts. Nice passing of the legs. Beautiful job to switch that.
Right to the back. And again, Shutt looking for that standing switch, but good grip by Mikhailov, dragging him down to one knee. Shutt back up, but unable to control Mikhailov, and then goes for the ride. Slam takedown, but very active on the ground is Shutt. Some great grappling we're seeing here tonight.
A lot of good. He almost tried to Grammy roll out of that. He wasn't able to get his hips through on it. Mikhailov, realizing what was occurring, allowed him to flow and then caught that back. But both guys really showing a lot of intelligence as far as the scramble positions and what's going on. Shutt's just unable to stop Mikhailov with the takedowns.
Under half-minute remaining in the second. 23-year-old Nikita Mikhailov, 8-1, including 1-0 in Bellator, working from top position, but stuck in the guard of Blaine Shutt, who was 8-5, looking to even his Bellator record to 1-1. 10 seconds left. Again, Nikita Mikhailov continues to work from top position as we go to the third and final round.
Very good round if you are in the corner of Nikita Mikhailov. Fedor Emelianenko in that corner has got to be at least happy with what he's seeing as far as the grappling exchanges, especially when it is in the takedown position. Take a look at it when we talk about strikes that hurt. That elbow I was talking about, beautiful elbow, and then comes again with it. All of these techniques, they just add up. And then the slam, beautiful job of elevating and bringing him down. Nice job by Shutt to actually take a lot of that away. Tries to roll through, but that arm catches him from rolling all the way through. Both guys showing they have a lot of knowledge when it comes to the grappling arts.
Final 5 minutes of this bantamweight bout. Mikhailov ahead on our unofficial scorecard. And Blaine Shutt, not surprisingly, coming out a little more aggressive and immediately taken down with that explosive shot by Nikita Mikhailov.
Shutt really needs to work at getting himself back to his feet or reversing his position. He cannot accept being on his back.
Mikhailov now 6 of 7 in the takedown department. What? Now that we've seen this movie throughout the fight, talk about the adjustments that Mikhailov has to make from this position in order to not be neutralized in his posture controlled by Shutt.
Well, right here, what Mikhailov needs to do is he needs to pass a leg. Stop allowing him to keep you in a butterfly guard or in a closed guard position. Start passing that leg, get to the half guard position, and start mounting an offense with those elbows and the strikes to make him move and catch him in that movement. But Shutt's really got to sit there and say, I cannot accept this. I've got to start to move. And that means he's got to turn. You got to figure you're 2 rounds down, Morrow. You got to give it all you've got. Start to turn, start to go. If he catches you, that's okay. You're going to lose it if you don't.
Work to finish.
Mikhailov has crashed the century mark in terms of strikes landed.
Let's go, gentlemen. Stand up. We got to work to finish.
His connection clip, if I'm not mistaken, right now, according to our strike totals, 92%, John?
Yeah, I'm not buying that one. I'm sorry. He's landed a lot.
105 of 114 compared to 15 of 32.
But again, keeps on allowing his head to go down. He needs to pass to that side. Get out. You see right now Shutt looking towards 100% sweep. It's not there for him.
Mikhailov working on the shutout here as we are nearing the midway point of the final round, and it is incumbent on Blaine Shutt to do whatever is necessary if he does not want to fall to 0-2 here in Bellator. And referee Mike Belchan giving him an opportunity now to go to work. And that he does, landing his most effective strike upstairs. And he is imploring Mikhailov to stand in front of him and throw leather. And Mikhailov responds with a nasty left that drops Shutt. And Shutt seems to be shaking it off, but back
Well, you got stunned by that. He said, come out here and let's throw. Well, beautiful elbow. That was a big one. That elbow strike really just hurt Shutt. That's why he turned. He's in trouble now. Mikhailov really needs to start opening up.
Mikhailov from back mount, reining in the ground and pound lefts and rights. Referee Mike Beltran stops it. Mikhailov is 2-0 in Bellator MMA, and he picks up his first finish under the Bellator MMA banner, improving to 9-1, beating Blaine Shutt. And that's what you want to see from a young fighter on the come-up. Dominated the first 2 rounds, opportunity to finish it in the third. He does so.
Yeah, when he landed that left and he hurt Shutt and then got the position on the ground, you could see he started opening it up. Watch this shot. Comes over, left hand strip, boom. You can see that hurt Shutt badly. He starts to turn, and take a look at this. Even hit him with that right hand and then right into the grappling. And when Shutt was unable to stop the elbow strike that put him in a position to turn his back, and then Mikhailov landed some big, heavy shots. Nice job of finishing.
Blaine Shutt shut down for the second consecutive time. Bellator MMA Fedor team rejoicing and celebrating with Nikita Mikhailov, who is perfect here in Bellator MMA. Later tonight, Fedor team's Valentin Moldavsky challenges Ryan Bader for the Bellator Heavyweight Championship. Bader became Bellator Heavyweight Champion by vanquishing Fedor in the final of the $1 Million Heavyweight World Grand Prix to win the vacant title. Let's make it official with Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, inside the Bellator cage, it comes to an end officially. 3 minutes, 23 seconds into round number 3. The winner by TKO, Nikita Mikhailov.
Three fights, 3 finishes to kick off Bellator 273 prelims here at the Footprint Center in Phoenix. Nikita Mikhailov picking up his first finish in Bellator. We are far from finished here tonight. Let's go back to Amanda Guerra at the fight desk.
Maura, thank you so much, Amanda Guerra. Josh Thompson with you here on the fight desk. We are so excited about tonight, and what a great main card we have with Ryan Bader going up against Valentin Moldavsky there for the heavyweight title. Ryan Bader, it's the first time he's fought at heavyweight since 2019, and he's making a quick turnaround. Fought back here in October at light heavyweight. He lost. He says tonight will be redemption for him. But of course, one of the great fights we have got coming up tonight, we have Aiden Lee going up against Henry Corrales. Let's start with Henry Corrales here. Look, he was here along with Ryan Bader back in October. He's a hometown kid. He's made Phoenix his home. And we were talking about the quick turnaround. He said, look, I won that fight. I want to use that momentum going into this one. Could we see a better Henry Corrales tonight than we saw then?
Absolutely. And I mean, for my career, 20 years of fighting, the more active I was, the better I got every single fight. It was the long lulls in between that made you feel like you weren't getting better. This quick turnaround for him, I think we're going to see a lot better Henry Corrales. Someone who's going to come out with big pop in his hands, close the distance, and I think we're going to see a little bit of wrestling from Henry Corrales tonight as well. At least just shake it up, make Aiden Lee be worried about the takedown so he can land his big shots on the feet. He possesses power in both hands, and I think if he gets inside, is able to unleash that power in his hands, you're going to see Aiden Lee potentially hit the canvas.
You know, I'm the biggest fan of your podcast, obviously. I haven't received a t-shirt or anything like that, but I am. I cannot repeat what you said on there about Aiden Lee because there was some explicit language, but you are such a fan of Aiden Lee, and you think if he does well tonight, he could be in that top 10 conversation.
The reason why I'm a huge fan is because he fights anybody. He takes on all comers. He doesn't care. His fight with Saul Rogers, he knew he was fighting a wrestler. He's predominantly a stand-up fighter, and he went out there and didn't care. Then he comes out and he fights other opponents, and they all try to take him down. Lee kept trying to take him down, couldn't, or Lee kept pushing the pace on people. His striking is phenomenal. He'll throw the head kicks, he'll mix up the combinations. He also is somebody that's not afraid to wrestle, even though he's tall, long, and lanky. But his transitions from his striking to when he drops you, to the transition to the back, he is a phenomenal fighter. He had a little setback against Aaron Pico, but in that fight, all that fight did was raise his stock. And I'm telling you right now, tonight, this is going to be either his coming out party, or he's going to have to go back to the drawing board a little bit and make a couple changes here and there. But I'm looking for a great fight tonight. This fight, I want everyone to understand, keep your eyes on it. It could steal the show.
Yeah, absolutely. There's always that fight that makes one of us like a little giddy. We kind of have our favorites. Big John,
I'm a nerd when it comes to those fights.
Loves this fight. He loves this fight. Mauro, let's continue with the prelims. We'll send it back to you.
All right, Amanda, intriguing middleweight matchup between the undefeated Dalton Rostov against Dwayne Johnson, who is 1-0 in the Bellator cage.
And now making his way to the cage, Dwayne Johnson.
33-year-old Dwayne Johnson made a successful Bellator debut at Bellator 265, defeating Devin Fisher via first-round Darce choke, the first submission win for the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu purple belt. And Dwayne Johnson, obviously, there is another Dwayne Johnson we talked about it the last time. He wants. He has a lot of personality, but you know there's always time for fun and games. But it's time to get down to business against Dalton Rostov. He faces a guy with plenty of upside, and it's up to Johnson to derail the hype train.
Absolutely, Bobo. I tell you what, in his first fight in Bellator, he really proved himself as a guy that can go out, he can bang on his feet, and then when it got to this, right away, look at him set up that Darce choke, jumps to it, takes the leg, it's tight, no way for his opponent to get out, he's got it trapped. That's what you're looking for, a guy that comes to finish, and that's what Dwayne Johnson has done.
While the other Dwayne Johnson claims to be the most electrifying man in entertainment, Johnson has designs on being the most electrifying fighter on every card. Another opportunity here in his sophomore appearance in Bellator.
And now set to make his way, Dalton Hercules Rostov.
Dalton Rostov wants to take it to a new level. Just 26 years of age, 5-0, all-pro fights here in Bellator. Started his career with 3 consecutive knockouts. And when you ask him the question, do you even lift, bro? He'll actually say, truthfully, no. Used to lift a lot, former football player. He says every now and then, you know, he might go in the gym, put up 315 pounds for 10 reps, but we talk about it. The look is one thing, but muscles can be detrimental in MMA.
Well, they can be, and when we first had Dalton Rostov doing fights here, cardio was a concern. It has not been in his last.
Takes a lot of oxygen.
This guy can fight. He can fight in the stand-up. He's got great wrestling. He is strong. Here he is against Tony Johnson, a guy that's got big power in his hands. Just dominated the fight, dominated the action. Dalton Rostov is the real deal. That record of 5-0, that says everything. Dalton Rostov working out of American Top Team in Coconut Creek. Everybody that he is training with, all of his training partners are at this moment undefeated. He has definitely said, I'm not going to be the first to find that go away.
Here's Michael C. Williams.
Tonight here in Phoenix, the Bellator 273 prelims continue now as we go to 3 5-minute rounds in the middleweight division. Introducing the blue corner, at 6 foot, weighing in 185.6 pounds. His professional record, 6 wins, 2 losses by way of Omaha, Nebraska. He fights out of Deerfield Beach, Florida, Dwayne Johnson. And across the cage, his adversary fighting out of the red corner at 6 foot, weighing in 184.6 pounds. As a professional, he's undefeated at 5-0. Out of Newcastle, Pennsylvania, he fights out of Coconut Creek, Florida, Dalton Hercules Rostov. And the referee in charge, Ryan Brueggemann.
Dwayne Johnson attempting to lay the verbal smackdown on Dalton Rostov before the opening bell. Time for talk is over.
You ready?
Time to chuck leather. First round.
Yes, beautiful.
Kick by Johnson, blocked by Rostov.
Hands up. Hip, go. Your face. Yes, pressure.
A lot of feinting early. Body kick lands for Rostov, grazing the body of Johnson. Front kick lands for Rostov.
Hurt yourself, boy. Don't hurt yourself, boy.
You can hear the commentary of Dwayne Johnson.
I don't want to say a word. I want to hear his next comment because he is definitely mouthing off to Dalton. Dalton not caring, just marching down, looking for his moment.
Rostov and Johnson at close quarters, looking to land the haymakers early. Both of them with 3 knockout wins on their respective resumes. Now Johnson looking to reset as he circles to his left. To be careful walking into that power alley, the right hand of Rostov.
He does keep circling himself to the power of Rostov because he wants to throw that left kick.
Instead, it's a right kick thrown by Rostov. Minute and a half gone in the opening round. There's a right hand that lands. Staggered Johnson. 1-2 again by Rostov. And Rostov. And why not? And good defense as well, avoiding the shot of Johnson.
Johnson's recovered from it, but he can be put right back onto that slippery slope.
Yep, Johnson,
one shot,
has never been finished. 3 minutes left in the opening round, and Rostov continues to try to walk down Johnson, trying to put the pressure. Check right hook there by Johnson, moving now to his right.
Much better when you're looking at it, because again, he started circling off towards the power of Dalton Rostov. That's how he got in trouble with that one shot.
Rostov going to the body with a quick right hand. Using that jab, pine past the midpoint of the opening round.
The body shots that Rostov is throwing, those can definitely help in the later rounds.
And the left hand lands for Rostov. Rostov crashes. The distance here now just collapsing on Johnson. The body lock looking to take him down. Crushing the space quickly there, John.
Yeah, and a lot of people say, well, why is he going into a clinch at that point? Just because he goes into a clinch doesn't mean he's actually even looking for the takedown, but he's making Johnson now have to think about it and have to react to it. Not a bad idea by Dalton Rostov.
If there were to be a work in progress for Rostov, would be his submission game, but again, one of the best camps, American top team murderers row up and down. Johnson with Sanford MMA under Henry Hoof, so 2 great camps being represented here in this fight.
Yeah, Johnson used to work out at Black House with guys like Leon Machida. He's been in there in sparring with some of the best guys there are.
There was that left hook to the body, and Rostov just missed with a right uppercut.
What you're really seeing right now, Moro, is there is a difference in speed. Dalton Rostov is just a little bit quicker with his hands, a little more accurate, and that is the difference in this fight right now. I like all the kicks that Dwayne Johnson is trying, but he's got to get out of the habit of circling towards the power of Dalton Rostov.
Pressure by Rostov, forcing Johnson to fight off the back foot, gets clipped with the left hook. There's another one, and right hand by Rostov. So Rostov getting the better of the striking experience exchanges here in the first frame.
And you can see just
Body kick by Rostov.
look at the balance at times when a guy's taking a step. It's telling you if he's hurt or not.
Final half minute. Johnson calling Rostov a rookie. Trying to mess with Rostov's head, trying to play the mind games while Rostov's taking care of the striking game. And diversifying up and down.
Absolutely, that's what you're seeing right now. He has been using that attack to the body very well. Rostov just needs to stick with what don't
hitting
the game.
Hook kick to the body. Some panache at the end of round one from Dalton Rostov. Johnson may have thrown more words than strikes out in that opening 5 minutes.
Well, they landed. It was actually a good round for Dalton Rostov. He's no doubt the guy that won that round. But Dwayne Johnson, he's got an idea of what he wants to do. I don't want to see him circling towards the power, but all the kicks that he's throwing, trying to disrupt him, especially the ones down the middle, those are good. Keep going back to that. Here's that right hand. You see him take that step back, gets the stanky leg. Rostov going to the body, beautiful job. Pushes that right hand a little bit, right back into the attack. That jab is money for him. Just needs to keep popping that jab, put that out there, and just more into the combinations, more than just the 1-2. Start to add in the 3-4.
And the numbers indicate a rather competitive opening 5 minutes, but Rostov getting the better of the striking exchanges and keeping his attack unpredictable, going upstairs and downstairs, mixing in the kicks, scored the lone knee strike in the opening round as we begin round number 2.
Well, both guys were able to land some good strikes, but it's a matter of the heavy strikes, for the most part, landed by Dalton Rostov.
Oh, heavy kick landed by Johnson.
That's right.
And Johnson lands a left hand. Rostov continues to come forward. 30 seconds gone in the middle frame. Low kick by Rostov. Rostov shoots in for the double, secures it.
Nice job of bouncing him off of the cage with all that power, going straight down to the legs, put him on his back. And what we see all the time now in MMA, get his back away from the cage so he cannot use it to get himself back to his feet.
Rostov began wrestling at 7, wrestled freshman year at Seton Hall University, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu purple belt. Delivering shots to the body and to the head with his right hand. Johnson controlling Rostov's posture. Wide base by Rostov, stacking Johnson. Short elbow strike across the jaw by Rostov.
Rostov doing a good job of keeping his head position over the top of Dwayne Johnson. That allows him to bring more power in his shots. A lot of control right now, and now into the half guard.
Underhook up top.
Coach Mike Brown giving some instruction to Dalton Rostov.
Yeah, Pommel, good job, good job.
Thiago Alves there in the middle.
Now you can pass. Yeah. Yeah, nice and loose. Keep that up.
Action.
Get your knee free. And keep your underhook.
Nice knee. I'm sorry, nice elbow.
Use your shoelaces now. Use your shoelaces to pass. Let's go. Let's advance.
When he's talking about shoelaces on that, he's trying to tell him to push that knee down, slide, and bring his foot over the top to control the leg. So when he goes, he can either slide into side control or right into mount.
Past the midway point of the round and the fight, Rostov from top position working on Dwayne Johnson, looking to try to pass into side control.
Nice job of controlling that arm. Look where that leg position's at.
Might be Moldavsky going for an arm triangle choke, setting them up. And again, we talk about the submission game being a work in progress for Rostov. Yet to record a submission win under 2 minutes left in the second.
Rostov allowed him to put him back into a full guard here. That's not where he should have been. He should have kept that half guard. Better position for him. Unless you're going to try to crush the space and crush the position like right here, putting a lot of pressure and landing big shots.
Stacking Johnson up, putting all the pressure on Johnson. Dalton Rostov goes to the back now. Johnson back on his back, back in half guard, but being forced to wear the weight, the pressure of Dalton Rostov. Greatest strength, he feels, is his belief in himself, his ability to impose his will on his opponent, doing that in this fight against Johnson.
Yeah, he is, but one of the things that we're really seeing, and what we've seen this in the past, is at the beginning he was unable to control his pace and how fast he was going. Now he's doing that. You see him at times. He's
looking to go right to full mount.
Onto the mount.
And now he does it, but Johnson using the fence. Good job to scramble, but eating some left hands for his effort.
Yeah, that was 3 left hands he ate right in a row. Dwayne Johnson, a full gamer, man. He has got no quit in him. He just cannot get Dalton Rostov from being on top of him.
And despite being 33, this is just his 9th professional fight, so his lack of experience. And yet still more than the 26-year-old Dalton Rostov, who was in his 6th professional fight looking for his 6th straight win. Johnson is going to have to make adjustments in the 3rd and final round. And Rostov really opened up a big statistical advantage in that middle frame.
Yeah, you know, when he decided to take that fight to the ground, you know, a lot of people look and go, well, why are you doing that? Because you're actually winning on the feet. Well, he won it in a bigger fashion going to the ground. More dominant. This is exactly what makes Dalton Rostov so good.
If you're in the on top, elbows from the guard. Elbow, it's okay. Good job. Yeah, he's doing okay. If we're going to go to half, let's advance to side and look for crucifix, all right? If you're in half guard, let's advance. I went out. That was good. He got his feet on the cage. His feet was on the cage. You would have been great if you weren't against the wall. Great job.
Good stuff from Mike Brown, breaking it all down and continuing to teach, imploring Rostov to move to side control, look for the crucifix. And it was, we talked about it, Johnson able to use his feet to get away from the cage in harm's way.
Yeah, he was.
3rd and final round. Kick by Rostov to begin the final frame. And a sense of urgency necessary for Dwayne Johnson, knowing he has to know he's behind. And it was all Rostov when it came to ground control in that 2nd round.
You're going to see Rostov looking to open up with the strikes, but he's going to be leading it towards getting back into those grappling situations.
And Johnson again going to his left. And there's that lead right missing for Rostov.
Rostov really needs to follow up off of that lead right. You see him throw the lead right, leave it hanging. He needs
and right-left connects for
That's
Rostov.
what I'm talking about.
Man, biting down and delivering those shots with bad intention.
Head outside on that.
Dwayne Johnson, time is ticking away.
Well, it is ticking away from him, but right now he just doesn't have an answer based upon the power of Dalton Rostov.
How does he come up with one?
Well, he's got to open up those strikes like you're saying, but use that teep kick that he's been throwing, throw that teep kick, and then take a step and land that straight left. You've got to start opening up. He's throwing the kicks, but the hands just are not finding the mark right now.
And the pressure and the power of Rostov, perhaps muting the offense of Johnson, making him think twice, and all of a sudden, very silent in the third and fine round, not flapping the gums anymore. Oh, right hand clips him. He was moving away, taking steam off the shot.
He's taking some shots, but he is showing, you know, he's got a good chin.
And now Dalton Rostov beginning to feel comfortable, wanting to try to put on a dynamic offensive display.
Well, it does need to be stated, Dwayne Johnson took this fight last minute. This was, Dalton Rostov was supposed to be fighting someone else, so the fact that he's in the third round and still fighting, didn't have a full camp to be able to prepare for that, you got to give it to him. He's still in there fighting hard.
Talked about Rostov looking for a dynamic offense, looking for that flying knee strike there. 2:20 left in the third. Oh, right hand again. Scores for Rostov.
There you go. You got to go with that left hook or that uppercut off that right hand. Don't just throw the single.
Under 2 minutes left in the fight. The left hook lands for Rostov, and no return fire from Johnson. Johnson from a southpaw stance.
I'm sure Johnson's arms are heavy right now. He's been in a hard fight, had a lot of weight on him. He's pushed a lot.
And he's eaten some heavy shots from Dalton Rostov. Minute and a half left in the fight. There's Rostov again, looking for the flashing finish.
Too much movement on that kick for it to land. You cannot telegraph it. It's just a little bit too much. It needs to be a little bit tighter for that to be successful.
Final 60 seconds. And again, Rostov, star on the rise, would love to try to close the show. You said it. Johnson taking the fight on short notice. 33 years of age, not a full camp. Yes, he's got heart, he's got grit. But it's up to Rostov to showcase all of his skills.
That's it.
And he's doing so.
Rostov just starting to open up a little bit more. But Rostov has to have it in mind. Right now, he doesn't have it in his mind to finish this fight. He's got it in his mind, I've won 2 rounds. You always need to be looking towards finishing the fight.
And I think I would wager he's won 3 rounds with 15 seconds left here in this fight.
Nice knee up the middle.
And the Superman punch by Rostov. So Rostov trying to deliver some flash in the final moments of the fight. They go the distance. Perhaps a moral victory for the 33-year-old Dwayne Johnson. But unless the judges saw something we didn't, Dalton Rostov should remain undefeated to kick off his 2022 campaign.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Let's take a look at some of this action from round 3. Johnson coming up. Rostov landing a beautiful right, then left. And it was those moments when Rostov, he would go with the lead right hand. Every time that he brought the left hook, he tended to land with it. Should have done it a little bit more often. But again, he'd gone through 2 good rounds. He was just taking his time. Superman punch. Just touches the mark, but does no damage at all. But a very nice and clean performance by Dalton Rostov.
Rostov dominated the ground game, outstruck Johnson 2-1. And when I say strikes, I mean all strikes. Johnson, some success in the kicking department, but not much else.
Take a look at those stats. 81 strikes landed to 40, just like you're saying, 2-1. 54-20 on punches. It's that ground control. Second round made a big difference in this fight.
Here's Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, having gone the distance, we'll go now to your 3 judges at cage side, where all 3, Eric Curcio, Anthony Manus, Chris Lee, have exactly the same 30-27. I'll have it for the winner by unanimous decision, Dalton Hercules Rostov.
Dalton Rostov pitches a shutout, remains undefeated to start his MMA career. He is 6-0, all of his pro bouts coming inside the Bellator MMA cage. Let's go back to Amanda Guerra.
Morrow, thank you so much. We're going to take a look at the fight kicking off the main card. But first, obviously, we're here on YouTube. Josh is talking to me about all of his Twitter followers. They're playing a drinking game, having to do with you tonight, Josh. Because what? Some of these fighters, how would you describe them?
Tall, long, and lanky.
Boom, take a shot.
Boom, do it again. Tall, long, and lanky. Tall, long, and lanky.
We got to make sure people stay with us throughout the entire night. All right, I talked about, we're going to talk about the fight kicking off the main card tonight. We got Sabah Homasi going up against Jaleel Willis. Jaleel Willis is the one who called for this fight, but Sabah Homasi, I mean, so powerful.
Yeah, he's explosive. He trains with one of the best teams in the sport right now, an American Top Team. He's got Dustin Poirier in his corner. Mike Brown is his coach. These guys are phenomenal, and they come out with some of the best game plans in the sport every time. And Sabah comes out with one thing on his mind: getting the finish. Huge power in his hands, but he's explosive everywhere. He's got flying knees, throws head kicks, mixes up his combinations, but everything comes out of the power he possesses in his hands. People get worried about that, and he hits you with something else.
Jaleel Willis, as I mentioned, he called for this fight, and I gotta say, we talked to both of these fighters. They are so fired up for this. I mean, there is a fire lit underneath of both of them. Jaleel Willis can wear down Sabah Homasi. How does he do that?
By wrestling. But he's got to mix in the striking with the wrestling. He just can't go out there and try and shoot raw dog, as I like to say, without the setup. He's got to make sure that he's shooting at distance, getting inside that pocket, lowering his level, but he's got to set everything up with his combinations. When he fought Lemminger, he was able to throw the boxing, and then he threw in a couple wrestling and takedowns as well. But he is phenomenal in the range, the speed with the jab, and his wrestling is really good. Now, Sabah, when I talked to him this week, he's like, oh, he's just a high school wrestler. Yeah, but he's explosive, and he mixes it up from the double leg to the body lock and right to the trips. And when he gets on top, he's nasty. He's got good control, and he's a strong 170-pounder.
And that is the fight kicking off the main card at 10 Eastern tonight on Showtime. Really quickly, before we send it back down tomorrow, any last
Tall,
words?
long, and lanky.
Here you go, Morrow. Back to you.
All right. Well, these fighters, yeah, tall, long, and lanky. We've got Awad at 5'11", Chris Gonzalez, 5'11", couple of lightweights getting set to get it on.
And now set to make his way, Chris the Lion Gonzalez.
Gonzalez and John, plenty to like about Gonzalez. 6-time All-American Greco-Roman wrestler, 6-1 as a pro, 5-1 in Bellator, and coming off his first defeat, getting that first loss out of the way. How does he bounce back?
You know, that's the question. How is he going to bounce back? Is he going to take that loss, learn from it, and say, I know where I made my mistakes, let me move on? And I think that's what we're going to see out of Chris Gonzalez. This guy is a superior athlete. Great Greco-Roman wrestling background. He can be very controlling in the fight, but he does need to be aware of the powerful right hand that his opponent inside Awad possesses.
Stopped by Goichi Yamauchi at Bellator 263 last July. First round TKO. So, yeah, facing some adversity for the first time. And, well, he's getting ready to take on a guy with Grand Canyon size advantage in experience.
Oh, absolutely. And you're taking a look at all the experience that Syed Awad is bringing into this fight. He is a guy that's been here and done it in Bellator. The most fights, except for one guy in Patricky Pitbull. He's got one more fight in Bellator than Syed Awad.
And now, to make his way, Syed, the Assassin Awad.
The 38-year-old has been fighting professionally for just under 16 years, and as John alluded to, marking his 24th fight under the Bellator banner, tied for second with David Rickles and Michael Chandler. Patricio Pitbull at number 1 with 25. And he is coming off a win over Nate Andrews at Bellator 259, stopping him in the opening frame.
Yeah, he had a fantastic performance against Nate Andrews. Came out and showed how dominant he can be in the stand-up and how much power he still possesses. Look, power doesn't go away, and he still has it. That right hand, it's explosive. Take a look at everything right here. The big thing you got to look at is that experience. 24-13. Yeah, he's got a lot of losses, but that's because he will fight anybody in any weight class against the relatively young Chris Gonzalez at 6-1.
Here's Michael C. Williams.
And for those that may have just joined us late night in the UK, we welcome you joining us live on BBC iPlayer as we get set here at the prelims to go to the lightweight division. Scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds, we introduce the blue corner. At 5'11", weighing in 155.6 pounds. His professional record, 6 wins, 1 defeat. By way of Chicago, he fights out of Sacramento, California, Chris the Lion Gonzalez. And across the cage, his adversary fighting out of the red corner. At 5'11", weighing in 156 pounds as a professional. 24 victories, 13 losses. By way of Gaza, Palestine, he fights out of Dallas, Texas, Syed, the Assassin Awad. In charge, your referee, Jason Herzog.
All of the veteran Awad's 11 knockouts have come in the opening round. Gonzalez says you can expect to see a patient yet hungry and aggressive fighter looking to drag Awad into deep waters and suffocate him. Gonzalez obviously doing his homework, cognizant of Awad's power, as I just mentioned, all 11 knockouts in the opening round. And of course, when you talk about experience in MMA, conversely, you're also talking about wear and tear. Left hand knockout by Gonzalez, and mamma mia, Chris Gonzalez has just started. Awad.
Let's go! Well, like I said, coming off of that loss, I think he learned a lot. He faced a guy with a lot of experience in Goichi Yamauchi who beat Chris Gonzalez. Gonzalez said, hey, I learned my lesson. I know where I made mistakes. I know what I have to do. Man, he went out and did it, Laurel.
Straight out of the Mirko Krokop playbook. Left head kick, knockout, lightning fast. That fight lasted about as long as most people's New Year's resolution. Gonzalez resolute in victory.
Anytime you get shin against dome, and that's what you just had with that left shin just landing right up against the right side of Syed Awad's head. That was a big shot. That put Awad down. You see him hit the ground hard. He's still there, but these right hands just start hammering against him. If we can watch that full speed, you'll see how fast that actually happens. Here we go. You can hear it. Look at those hands. No time for Awad to recover at all. Big time win for Chris Gonzalez.
Oh! And the Lion wasn't the only one roaring. Team Alpha Male. Jubilant.
Watch the trauma. Bit that. You can see it shake the head. Big time shot.
Last time he took an L, but tonight he bounces back in brilliant fashion. Head kick knockout for Chris Gonzalez. Now 7-1, 6-1 in Bellator with his third knockout victory of his career. And for Saad Awad, unfortunately, losing his 11th fight in Bellator. That's a record, but again, a guy who has never turned down a fight, a guy who tonight fighting for the 24th time in Bellator MMA, a testament to longevity and the sportsman, Saad Awad, congratulating Gonzalez on our gargantuan victory. The 3-hour drive to Combat Sports Academy 3 times a week to continue to improve, paying off the work with Team Alpha Male. Chris Gonzalez, impressive tonight. Let's go to Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, inside the Bellator cage, it comes to an end. 36 seconds into round number 1. The winner by knockout, Chris the Lighthead Gonzalez.
Here's Big John McCarthy.
Good job, baby. I'm here with your winner, Chris Gonzalez. Chris, I got one question first. What took you so long?
Coach told me to be patient, so I was just feeling him out. I respected his power. Saad's been around for a long time, so, you know, wanted to give him the respect he deserved. Just find my shots, and, you know, when I saw the opportunity, strike first, strike hard, and put him out.
We've seen a lot of great athleticism from you in your prior fights, and you faced Koichi Yamauchi, who had a lot of experience. That was the most experience. Then you have a guy like Awad, a ton of experience. But you bringing up that left high kick the way you did, that's a new technique we haven't really seen from you until tonight.
Yeah, you know, I've been working on that for a little bit. Andre Feely inspired. Been working with Coach Kieran quite a bit the last few months. You know, just hard work pays off, man. I'm driving 9 hours a week to get into striking since the Goiti fight. So sharpening all the tools in the toolbox, and today I got to display some more.
I'll tell you what, it was impressive. When you hit it and you went after him, it was fast. You can watch it in slow motion. But when you see it live, that kick landed and the right hands just finished it up. Did you know you had him out at that point?
Yeah, I mean, you can read a person when they're out, they're out. He dropped, he kind of went to a safe place, and that was all I needed to see to get the job done.
This victory puts you right back in position. You're back in the lightweights. You're a guy with a name in here to talk about. Who is it you would like to face? You've had 2 guys with a lot of experience, a lot of success in this cage. Who should we see you in here against next?
Yeah, you know, I want to fight the best. I'm right there with the top guys. I don't think Peter Quilley deserved that title fight. So, Peter, come and see me. What's up?
Peter, the showstopper, Quilley, that would be a great one. Fantastic fight, great finish. Ladies and gentlemen, get on your feet and give it up for Chris Gonzalez.
Gonzalez performing like he was double parked. 36 seconds is all it took. Hey, how do you erase the bitter taste of your first loss coming via knockout? You come back and score a crushing KO in your next fight. Right, Amanda?
Absolutely. What a finish there for Chris Gonzalez. Josh, you thought he needed to utilize the wrestling in order to get the win. He's been working on his striking, and sure enough, holy cow, what we saw tonight from him.
Yeah, what it is his wrestling is so good that a lot of fighters just anticipate him to shoot. He's explosive. We saw tonight. He set it up with the jab, got Saad Awad flinching, and as soon as he threw the jab, he feinted the jab and threw the head kick over the top. Beautiful work. That's great work. Obviously, he's been training with CSA out there with Kieran. And I'm telling you right now, that group of fighters out of that gym are phenomenal in the striking. And he set it up textbook. Like I said, fighters are afraid of his wrestling. So they flinch and they're worried about their hands dropping, making sure their hands can get down to stop the takedown. He set up with the jab, threw the head kick over the top. Explosive, fast, and right on point. Nicely done.
Watching tonight how much he has worked, we heard him say, look, I think I'm there among the best. What's next for him?
Look, I'm looking at the rankings right now. I mean, this is what I was doing as soon as we were hearing about this. I'd like to see him actually fight the winner of tonight, Benson Henderson and Mamedov, because his wrestling could probably nullify Mamedov, and that'd be nice. And if Benson's just one of those guys. He's a name that everyone wants to fight because of his former titles that he's had, and he's been a champion in every organization. Who wouldn't want to fight Benson Henderson?
We'll see if Coker listens to you when it comes to that. Take his
I won't hold my breath.
Maybe not. All right, taking a look at the fights we do got coming up tonight. Josh Minton, one of them, Benson Henderson, Islam Mamedov. Mamedov undefeated for more than a decade. Meanwhile, Benson Henderson, somebody who has been in title talks before, well, he has fallen out of that. He says he wants to use tonight to propel him back into those talks. We got a fight which could steal the spotlight tonight, and Henry Corrales going up against Aiden Lee. Josh calling Aiden Lee an absolute savage, but Henry Corrales is right there with him, and watch out if Aiden Lee makes a mistake. And of course, we got Ryan Bader going up against Valentin Moldavsky. Ryan Bader, this is his hometown crowd. He is calling it redemption tonight. And Josh, this is a short turnaround for him. We saw him fight about 3 months ago, and you know when you're in that training for your next fight, you don't want to take time out of it. Well, Ryan Bader did that. He went to Fort Bragg for a celebrity tactical training, and they said, you know what, you're good enough, we're going to cheer you on. So we've got a watch party at Fort Bragg tonight. There they are, cheering on Ryan Bader. How incredible was it that he did that, Josh?
I think it's phenomenal. Anytime you can give back to the troops, anytime you can work with our military and let them know that you support them, and then you actually develop fans. You get to know them. I've done this several times across the world, actually, and it's been phenomenal. You get to touch, their hearts, they touch yours. You let them know the appreciation of what they do for you and what they do for our country, and we are blessed.
So we have the heavyweight title on the line tonight. We talked about Ryan Bader fighting here back in October. He was a light heavyweight then. We haven't seen him fight at heavyweight since 2019. How did he get to this point, though, with the heavyweight belt?
Well, he's been fighting for a long time, okay? But his run in the heavyweight division, I really believe this is where he needs to be. So when he fought King Mo, he went out there, dispatched him in 15 seconds. King Mo's a very good friend of mine, phenomenal wrestler. But he went out there and outstruck him quickly, got the knockout. Then he fought Matt Mitrione, and when he fought Matt Mitrione knew what he was going to do to him. He knew he was going to try to take him down. Matt Mitrione couldn't stop the takedowns, even when he knew they were coming. And Ryan Bader, like I said, when he gets on top, he's a different animal. He is someone that can let the hands go and really distinguish what he needs to do to get on top. But his fight with Fedor Emelianenko, 35 seconds, he dispatched him in the finals of the Heavyweight World Grand Prix. And that set up what we're going to see for the rest of the season.
But coming back up to heavyweight, when we talked about the short turnaround, we're going to have to see what we see from him.
Well, with Henry Corrales, right, we said the short turnaround was good. In this situation, we're going to find out if it was good, because going from light heavyweight to heavyweight and putting the weight back on and being able to train with it and carry it, that sometimes can be detrimental to your performance. And so we're going to see how well he was able to put that weight on and still fight at a top level.
Moldavsky, meanwhile, he has been fighting at heavyweight. He has won 6 fights in a row. He has not lost. I had to go back, and that's a lot of scrolling down to 2016, though. I mean, he is the #1 contender for this fight.
Well, he's the interim champion. That makes him the #1 contender. He's had dominant performances. He's someone, though, that he's a smaller heavyweight, but he will fight you in a phone booth. You can see with Big Country, Roy Nelson, he just pressed Big Country to the fence, dirty boxed him, fought him in a phone booth. And when you can do that in a smaller heavyweight, it was just piecing up Big Country. Got some takedowns, dominated the positioning. With Tim Johnson, it was a great fight. They were getting after each other, putting on the performance. But when he got in close range, Tim Johnson had a hard time letting the hands go because he was too close. But Moldavsky makes a living in that dirty boxing position, that phone booth position. He can wrestle you or he can outbox you in there. And that's where Ryan Bader may have a problem tonight. He's got to keep his back off the fence, and Moldavsky going to try to get in there and dirty box him in a phone booth.
We have already seen such great action tonight. Congratulations, Chris Gonzalez, with that knockout, by the way. We have the final prelim fight of the night coming up next. the gym to the streets, Bellator fans, head to BellatorShop.com and gear up in the same apparel the fighters wear.
Bellator returns with a bang. He took down the Russian legend. Now heavyweight champion Ryan Darth Bader.
And it's over!
Faces Fedor's protege, interim champ Valentin Moldavsky.
Moldavsky pouring it on.
And he looks to start a new Russian dynasty.
Just like that!
Bellator MMA, live tonight on Showtime, where warriors rule.
The action in the Bellator 273 prelims have been as hot as the NBA team that calls the Footprint Center home, the Phoenix Suns. Only one of our first 5 prelim fights have gone to the judges' scorecards. It's time for the final prelim of Bellator 273. Former Bellator bantamweight champion Darian Caldwell takes on Bellator MMA newcomer Enrique Barzola.
Set now to make his way to the cage, Enrique El Fuerte Barzola.
32-year-old Enrique Barzola representing Peru, had 10 fights in the UFC, a record of 6-3-1 in the octagon, but now stepping into the Bellator MMA cage for the first time. And baptism by fire, to say the least, against a guy who once wore the crown at 135, Darian Caldwell.
Baptism by fire is absolutely it. You're going against a guy who's an NC2A champion in wrestling, a guy who was a champion in Bellator in the bantamweight division. So you want a first fight? Let me give you someone that kind of tests you a little bit. But Barzola is a guy. He has the elements needed to get a win against Darian Caldwell. This guy's got a gas tank. He is tough. He does not get finished. This guy can push the pace, and if he can do that, he can get a win.
And his 10 fights in the UFC, he secured 42 takedowns. We'll see what happens against a guy with the wrestling pedigree of Caldwell.
And now his opponent, Darian "The Wolf" Caldwell.
Now 34 years of age. He officially returns to 135 for the first time since losing in a title fight to Kyoji Horiguchi in June of 2019. Since then, well, he fought at featherweight 3 times, most recently at a catch weight of 130 pounds and losing the rematch to Leandro Higo via split decision. And so for Caldwell again, here at 135 pounds, now out of Sanford MMA, Henry Hooft. How much is left for this 34-year-old?
You know, he's got a lot in the tank because he has not been damaged by anyone. He's that guy that you look at him. He's got all the gifts needed to be incredible, and at times he has been. Big-time wins against guys like Adam Borch. He was the champion. He lost twice to Kyoji Horiguchi, and you look at those and you go, he's got elements that are outstanding. He's got elements he needs to work on.
Well, and he needs to snap a 2-fight losing streak. Submission lost too well. The featherweight kingpin AJ McKee, and as we mentioned, that split decision setback to Leandro Higo. So, lots on the line for Darian Caldwell and the newcomer Enrique Barzola as we go to the numbers for our final prelim bout at Bellator 273.
Yeah, you just go to look at this right here. Tall, long, and lanky is what they were talking about. So
what can I take a drink of?
You're talking 135 pounds, almost 6 feet tall. Darian Caldwell's got a lot of length in this fight.
Let's go to Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight here in Phoenix, the time has come to conclude the Bellator 273 prelims. To do so, we'll go to 3 5-minute rounds in the bantamweight division. Introducing the blue corner, at 5'7", weighing in 136 pounds even, making his Bellator debut. He brings 16 professional victories, 5 losses, 2 draws from Lima, Peru, presenting Enrique El Fuerte Barzola. And across the cage, his adversary fighting out of the red corner at 5'10", weighing in 135.8 pounds. The former bantamweight world champion stands with 15 professional victories, 5 defeats. From Rahway, New Jersey, he fights out of Delray Beach, Florida, Darian the Wolf Caldwell. And the referee in charge, Mike Beltran.
So both fighters winless in their last 2 fights. Caldwell just 2-5 in his past 7, dating back to December 2018. He doesn't think Barzola's going to make it out of the first round. Barzola, he feels he's going to stop Caldwell in the second.
You ready to fight? Handle it. Go.
First round underway, and immediately Caldwell with the left hand before securing the shot. So surprising Barzola with the left hand to the face and showing the quickness to go for the takedown.
Right away, Caldwell getting into it, but Barzola trains at American Kickboxing Academy, and it's funny that it's Kickboxing Academy, but there's the reason when you talk about AKA, it's the wrestling.
Well, when you got Habib Nurmagomedov and the like, Daniel Cormier, Cain Velasquez and the like, but yeah, Barzola doing a good job here now, riding the back of Caldwell and taking the fight to the former champ.
We're talking about taking down a former NC2A champion.
And again, we talked about the stat in the octagon, 42 takedowns in those 10 fights. And here in the opening minute, Caldwell set up the takedown shot with the left hand, but Barzola now delivering those small knee strikes to the thighs, or the thigh of Caldwell.
Caldwell doing a good job working on the hands right now, trying to turn into Barzola. Barzola, beautiful job of controlling the position, allowing Darian to slide underneath him in that position, riding the position out. Great job by Barzola right now.
Barzola saying his biggest advantage, he's a tireless fighter, loves applying pressure, wants to work smart and hard to be a Bellator bantamweight champion, wants to test Caldwell's conditioning.
You know, and this is the whole thing. When we were looking at this fight, Caldwell has the explosiveness. Barzola's a guy that can drag you into deep waters with all the pressure he brings, and he's done it in the past with fighters. He's broken them in that 3rd round. He knows he doesn't have a ton of power on an individual shot, but he's got a grind that is second to none in this weight class. Nice switch over by Caldwell. Barzola needs to continue to make Caldwell work. The more that he can make him work, the better his chances are of dragging this thing into the later rounds.
Caldwell now in top position, wanting to put Barzola on his back. Barzola trying to keep Caldwell at bay, trying to stop Caldwell from improving his position, but now Caldwell crossface on Barzola.
That was a very clean and tricky little knee strike inside by Darian Caldwell.
And Barzola not accepting his position, working tirelessly to try to reverse, but that's smothering pressure by Caldwell.
This is exactly, if you're Barzola, what you need to do. Do not allow Caldwell to be comfortable. Make him work continuously in this fight.
Caldwell's greatest strength is his wrestling, imposing that here on Barzola. Barzola active on the bottom, but it's Caldwell now moving, half butterfly hook by Barzola. And it's Caldwell looking to go to side control, but running up against the fence.
He's got it. That was a nice move by Darian Caldwell.
Minute and a half here in the opening round left.
See, that's when you move to these types of positions, it allows Darian that moment to relax, settle down a little bit, get his heart rate down. And that's why Barzola needs to do exactly what he's doing. Do not let him rest. Do not let him feel comfortable. Keep pushing the pace.
Coming up on the final minute of the first. The chess match on the ground unfolding here. Caldwell with a Series of knee strikes to the thigh of Barzola. Barzola looking, trying to get back up to his feet while defending.
And Barzola wants to get his left arm inside the left arm of Caldwell. That's what's stopping him right now. Caldwell's in a very good position, trying to use that hook, was unable to get it, but he's got his hands clasped, and that's a very difficult thing to break.
And German suplex belly to back attempt there by Caldwell, but Barzola avoiding the full brunt of it.
And it looks really good, but he wasn't able to bring him down with that impact, and that takes a lot of energy to do. So
trying to get his hook in is Caldwell.
Very smart by Caldwell. Get that hook.
Good effort by Barzola to defend the wrestling, the takedowns of Caldwell, and now time ticking away here in the first round. Gritty affair to get things started, John.
Very gritty affair, but exactly the type of fight that Enrique Barzola ends up winning. It's the kind of fight where he pushes that pace and he starts to put it on his opponents as the minutes go by.
Who won it in your unofficial scorecard and why?
Darian Caldwell is going to get my score 10-9 in that he had the better elements of the fight, but he used a lot of energy to be able to get there. And the question is, what kind of condition is he? He's a big guy, and to cut down to 135, it might be that takes some of that energy away. Here was Barzola with his takedown. Gets that body lock, leans it, gets the hips back. Nice job of turning the corner on him. And then beautiful job by Darian Caldwell when he gets him in this position, brings him back over. Wasn't able to get the full suplex, but nice wrestling maneuver. Beautiful effort by Darian Caldwell. The real thing is take a look at the breathing of both guys right now. Who's breathing harder? There's no doubt it's Darian Caldwell.
And for Barzola, his previous 10 fights have gone to the judges. Has not won a fight by knockout or submission since September of 2014. So used to going the distance. And he's getting used to, whether he likes it or not, having Caldwell stuck to him like Velcro here.
Caldwell doing exactly what he's great at. He's wrestling right now, but he's using a lot of energy. It's a real question. How is he feeling? I talked to him early, and he told me, John, I feel great. My weight cut was nothing. I have days that I can go with my energy, and we're going to see it because right now he's doing that.
Wrestler since the age of 9, impressive credentials, wrestling D1 in college for North Carolina State, 2-time Division I All-American, and 2009 Division I champion. And just continues to impose his will, the pressure on Barzola. And for Barzola, in this instance, talk about possible escape routes. Talk about what he needs to do to reverse his fortune.
Well, right now in this position, he doesn't have the escape route, but up against the fence, he's got a balance point. So what he wants to do is turn into Darian Caldwell. That's not an easy thing to do with the way that Darian's got his hands clasped.
And what is Caldwell trying to do with those knee strikes to the thigh?
He's just trying to make it to where the movement, it just tends to tighten that muscle up, makes the movement of Barzola end up in a position where they separate. His movement is now limited.
Hinder his mobility, and there's an elbow strike on the exit by Caldwell across the face of Barzola. Now let's see if they can turn up the offense in terms of striking. Oh, there's a left hand that lands, and again, Caldwell making it no secret, using his striking to set up his wrestling.
And that was a very nice strike by Caldwell and a beautiful job of turning the corner to take the back. Because Barzola was the guy putting pressure on him, but see right here, now it's starting to change a little bit. Barzola is marching him down. Darian's got to figure out a way to gain space so he can grab a breath and then come back with clean strikes.
There's the right hand knocking the mouthpiece of Barzola out. Caldwell southpaw stance, blocked that right head kick attempt by Barzola, but Barzola putting the pressure. Knee attempt by Caldwell, 1-2 from southpaw, but Caldwell continues to circle to his right. Barzola continues to walk him down, but not landing much, and it's Caldwell changing levels, looking for the single.
Yeah, and this is where Caldwell, look, he can always go to that wrestling, but he's got to do more than wrestle. If he gets the fight to the ground, there goes Barzola switching the position. Nice effort by Darren Caldwell. Taking that leg, holding on. But he needs to do more than just wrestle. He needs to figure out times to get strikes in here instead of just controlling and holding on to Barzola. Those are heavy. You can hear those elbow strikes landing.
Nasty elbows by Barzola, with Caldwell pinning him against the fence. But we've seen this time and again for Caldwell, where he uses the wrestling, neutralizes his opponent, expends a lot of energy and unable to do much more, and it comes back to bite him because of the expenditure of energy.
Yeah, and we talked about this as far as with Barzola. Barzola has shown, go against, Ronnie Yaya. Ronnie Yaya was all over him in the first 2 rounds, but got to the point he was exhausted, and Barzola just comes on and puts it on him.
Coming off a draw with Yaya in his last fight, missing with the right uppercut as Caldwell continues to move to his left body. Kick, Caldwell again, dropping levels, picks up the single. Barzola defending it.
And now look at slip rear. There's a lot of sweat involved. You can't hold on to the leg the same way. And if you're talking about dropping levels, he didn't really drop levels.
Changing levels. And Barzola looks for the single. And now Caldwell looking to snatch the neck of Barzola. But as we mentioned, perspiration. Things are becoming slicker in there. Barzola has Caldwell's back. And Barzola with 4 submission wins on his ledger. Time running out in the second, coming up on the final 30 seconds. Beautiful.
Beautiful Granby roll by Darren Caldwell.
Right into mount.
That was really nice to see Caldwell not accept the position. He got himself back to his feet, went to a Granby roll. That says a lot about Darren Caldwell's mindset right now.
Barzola walking down Caldwell. Caldwell backing up as we go to the 3rd and final round.
This is that moment, just a little touch. The mouthpiece comes out. Wasn't a strike that hurt Barzola, but it knocked the mouthpiece out. That doesn't look good to the judges, but these right here, those do look good to the judges. Those are heavy strikes, and you could hear the elbow landing against the skull.
Seconds out, let's go. Mouthpiece in, Darren. Mouthpiece.
Beautiful job of switching the position by Darren Caldwell at that last moment of the second round.
Darren, mouthpiece, put it in.
3rd and final round of our final preliminary bout here in Phoenix to kick off the first Bellator MMA event of 2022. Former bantamweight champion Darren Caldwell, Bellator MMA newcomer Enrique Barzola. How do you have it on your unofficial scorecard heading into this final frame?
Man, I'm telling you, it is close. That second round was very close. I don't know which way they're going to go. Darren Caldwell is either 2 rounds up or this is an even fight coming into this last round. And we're going to see what occurs and how much gas Caldwell has left.
Nice left uppercut, lead left uppercut, left hand kick by Caldwell. 30 seconds gone. Spinning back elbow, touches up Barzola, makes him stumble back.
But Barzola walks straight forward after it. He's not hurt by him, man. The guy is just incredible as far as the pace that he brings. This is what I was talking about.
He's never been stopped.
Ever stopping in a fight. Those are big-time elbows to the ribs. That does not feel good. It's not going to stop the fight.
Never stopped.
But it can affect the breathing, and that's something that's important right now to Caldwell.
And isn't stopping here in the 3rd round. A minute gone. Barzola looking to take Caldwell's back.
Barzola right now looking to take Caldwell's heart. He has been putting on a pace and pressure. Caldwell needs to go back to the way he was thinking in the second round. I got to get back to my feet. Let me get out of this. Don't accept it.
Harness lock there by Barzola with the Waistlock neutralizing Caldwell. A minute and a half gone here in the final round.
This right here is actually good for Caldwell. He's able to get a little bit of air, relax a little bit. He's not accepting any damage. It's nothing more than positional control.
Keep fighting.
Billy Barzola is complaining that Caldwell is holding his glove. Just sitting here, this is not good. He's got to get out.
Barzola has 4 submissions, all of them via rear naked choke, in a position to perhaps do so here with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left in the fight.
If he keeps opening like this and Caldwell puts his arms in positions like he is right now, he can get himself with a quick motion with that arm around the neck. It will take him very little time.
His last submission came in April of 2014. Drama here in the final round. Darian Caldwell, the former Bellator bantamweight champion, wanting to ruin the debut of Enrique Barzola, but Barzola putting on the pressure and putting on the offense here in the 3rd round.
Caldwell is trying to move right now.
And referee Mike Beltran intervenes, much to the chagrin of Darian Caldwell, but Enrique Barzola victorious in his Bellator MMA debut, knocking off a former bantamweight champion.
Big time win for Enrique Barzola, but that's what heart and having a game plan of I'm going to keep pressing, I'm going to keep putting pressure on him, and I'm going to break him. That was the game plan of Barzola.
Enrique Barzola with his first knockout win since September 2014. None much sweeter. The picture tells the story. Huge victory for Enrique Barzola. Conversely, another huge setback for Caldwell.
Let's take a look at some of the replays here. Caldwell bringing up the kick up high. That's what's set up. Shooting down for that takedown. But the difference was the gas tank. You see Barzola coming around, turning that corner, getting on top, and landing a lot of elbows, a lot of hammer fists. He just was unrelenting in his attack. Caldwell got a little bit tired, allowed himself to stay in that position, and in the end, referee Mike Beltran says, "You're not moving enough for me," and he stops the fight.
American Kickboxing Academy impressed with the victory by Enrique Barzola for Darian Caldwell. Not only his first knockout loss, but he is now in the midst of his first ever 3-fight losing streak. Let's make it official with Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, inside the Bellator cage, referee Mike Beltran steps in, waves off the contest due to unanswered strikes. Official time, 3 minutes, 1 second. Round number 3 for the winner by TKO, Enrique El Fuerte Barzola.
Bellator MMA bantamweight division has a new player in Enrique Barzola, the 32-year veteran, vanquishing the former champ. And again, just surprising because of the fact, John, that we see such a long period of time. And against a guy like Caldwell, that's what makes it that much more impressive.
Well, you know, I always say there's blueprints on how to beat guys. He used the blueprint. Get him tired. Force him into an action-packed fight. He did a great job.
Amanda, 5 of our 6 prelims And inside the distance, I would say that's a pretty good start to the year 2022 for Bellator MMA.
Absolutely, Mauro. Man, we are glad to be back with you here in 2022. Taking a look at the main card we got coming up tonight for Bellator 273. Josh, when it comes to Ryan Bader going up against Valentin Moldavsky, the heavyweight title on the line, what are the biggest questions you have for each guy going into this?
How does Ryan Bader come back from his loss to Corey Anderson in his hometown here in Arizona? That's one. And then with Moldavsky, I want to know, how does he handle the movement and, Big John, pay attention, the speed of Ryan Bader? That's what I want to know. That'll
be an argument throughout the night. We're about to find out starting at 10 Eastern on Showtime. We'll see you then.
Bellator returns with a bang. He took down the Russian legend. Now heavyweight champion Ryan Darth Bader faces Fedor's protege, interim champ Valentin Moldavsky.
Moldavsky pouring it on.
And he looks to start a new Russian dynasty.
Just like that!
Bellator MMA, live tonight on Showtime, where warriors rule.
In 2018, Bellator revived the heavyweight belt and found their new champion through the Heavyweight World Grand Prix. Many great fighters put it all on the line for championship glory. The Grand Prix tournament culminated in a fight of the ages between Ryan Bader and the legendary Fedor Emelianenko. Fedor's path to the final started against a former champion in Frank Mir. These two were closely matched.
Frank Mir's doing exactly what he needed to do. Backing him up, that's smart.
Before Fedor landed a devastating uppercut knockout.
Good straight left hand. Emelianenko, the ground and pound on Fedor Emelianenko has turned back time.
To end the fight in the very first round. Bader's path to the final started with a lightning-fast 15-second knockout of King Mo.
Bellator light heavyweight champion Ryan Bader competing for the first time at heavyweight. He's already dropped the ball with the left hand. Ryan Darth Bader, and Bader beats King Mo Laval in lightning quick fashion. Mamma mia!
In the semifinals of the tournament, Fedor was matched up with the American gangster, the bad guy, Chael Sonnen. He would win this fight quickly, knocking Sonnen down early in the fight and dominating throughout the first and only round.
Looking to finish right here, right now. He's not being hurt, but he's got to move when Dan tells him to move. And it's all over. Fedor Emelianenko.
On the other side of the bracket, Bader would beat Matt Mitrione. Bader would dominate Mitrione with his top-tier wrestling, easily cruising to a clear and decisive unanimous decision victory.
Scoring at 30-25. David Torelli, 30-24. Judge Eric Cauley, 30-25. All have it for the winner by unanimous decision. Now advancing to the finals of the Heavyweight World Grand Prix, Ryan Darth Bader.
On January 26th of 2019, Bader would finally meet Emelianenko in the finals, and it would take exactly 35 seconds for Bader to knock out a legend.
And watch for that right. Oh,
Big shot. And it's all over. Just like that. Ryan Bader knocks out Fedor Emelianenko.
Win the World Heavyweight Grand Prix and become the new Bellator Heavyweight Champion. Bader would become Bellator's first simultaneous two-division champion, as he also held the light heavyweight title. After the Heavyweight World Grand Prix, Bader had his first title defense against Czech Congo, but the fight would end in a controversial no contest. Bader then returned to the light heavyweight division to defend his belt against the surging Russian Vadim Nemkov. Nemkov would land a devastating kick that started the downfall and led to the taking of Bader's light heavyweight crown. However, shortly afterwards, the light heavyweight World Grand Prix was announced, and with revenge in mind, Bader entered to try and reclaim what was once his.
Yeah, it's about redemption. You know, I have a loss of Machida earlier in my career, Nemkov. You know, and I was the first two-division champion, and now I have the opportunity to be the first guy to go in there and win 2 Grand Prix in 2 different weight classes. So it's pretty special.
Meanwhile, in the heavyweight division, rising contender and Team Fedor member Valentin Moldavsky continued his quest for the heavyweight strap, going undefeated in his first 5 fights in Bellator. Due to Bader's commitment to the light heavyweight World Grand Prix tournament, Bellator decided to create an interim heavyweight title and match Moldavsky against the #1 ranked Tim Johnson. Moldavsky and Johnson fought a grueling fight.
For Team Fedor, they're pretty special.
Tim Johnson going all 25, putting on a show. A championship fight that delivered.
But in the end, Moldavsky won by unanimous decision, becoming the interim heavyweight champion. In October, Bader met fellow wrestler Corey Anderson, who put away Bader and his quest to reclaim that light heavyweight title by knocking Bader out in just 51 seconds of the very first round.
Swinging for the fences, swinging for the final, swinging for that title shot that's eluded him his entire career. Lands a big right elbow, the ground and pound pouring down, and it's over.
This would finally set up a unification fight for the heavyweight championship, coming up on January 29th of 2022 between Ryan Bader and Valentin Moldavsky, almost 3 years to the date that Bader won the Heavyweight World Grand Prix tournament.
How do you spell dominant? M-O-L-D-A-V-S-K-Y. Valentin Moldavsky. Cheers! It's Miller time. And Moldavsky with the takedown early. Smart move. He's a training partner of the great Fedor Emelianenko. From there. Wins have come via first-round knockout, but he has to try to find a way to get back to his feet here with...
Right now, same on top of holding on. I mean, staying safe.
Piston-like lefts from Moldavsky. The ground and pound.
Finish.
Under a minute left in the second round. And Seomanatafa finds himself on his back again. Definitely has to put on the afterburners when it comes to his striking techniques if he is to find himself back into this fight.
The script doesn't change. Seomanatafa needs something big. That inside trip, knee pick.
Spending energy trying to bring down the 6'1" Seomanatafa.
Seomanatafa, man, he's trying to lock up a
he was.
26 and 30, 27, all for the winner by unanimous decision, Valentin Moldavsky.
They're not quite touching their target, and that's okay. It's early in the fight. They're still feeling each other out a little bit, but that is...
Moldavsky is Vadim Nemkov. Another one, Team Fedor. Good shot for Moldavsky. Which has the attention of my partner tonight. Moldavsky getting the attention of Ernest James here.
Each other's power. I think they both respected the other one's power because they've both been a little bit hesitant. Moldavsky going after it.
Best shot of the round comes late for Moldavsky. Big finish.
To say these guys, they're just too far out.
I just wanted to see how long you were going to let it go.
I'm well aware what those rules are. And no, it is not the referee's job.
Yeah, he was certainly impressive there. Oh, James takes another shot. I think James is having a hard time seeing him here.
We saw another shot right on scramble right now, and he's in big trouble. Moldavsky pouring it on, and it's over.
Attacks here. Notice what side it's on. It's on the left side, and James is just not able to see it, is my guess, is my perception. I think it intimidated and scared him. But in addition, Moldavsky was able to get these shots through. That's the only one that came to the middle. Everything else here comes from that damaged left side. And you can tell by James's reaction, which is next to nothing. He's almost not covering. He's almost not flinching. He's not moving. He's not circling. It's because he could not see it coming.
Yeah, Ryan Bader may have to go back. That's a decision he'll make. But Linton knows I'm going to stay with where I'm at. Now heavyweight is my class, and I'm going to be here for a while.
Been thinking about it for the last few years.
So he creates problems. Once he puts you on the ground, you've got to work so hard to get away from him. Here he is trying to slice through. Nice move by Moldavsky. Get himself back to his feet.
Linton Vassell, still training in South Florida. He's hit, put down by Moldavsky. Black belt in judo.
Nice move by Linton, trying to get back to his feet. Moldavsky's doing a good job of keeping his body centered on him. That was a mistake.
For a 3-0 night here inside the Windstar World Casino and Resort.
Nice pass by Linton. You see him using shoulder pressure there. Moldavsky's got that down. That is a nice job of getting himself out, because that's not an easy move to get a big man off your width, and he does it well.
You also said that when Moldavsky swarms his opponent,
just keep him down so he turns. But when you're in that type of weight cut where you're training so much to keep your weight down, and then Linton is going, thank God I didn't have to cut weight facing this guy.
right into the gym after the fight with Phil Davis.
He just put himself in a bad position for an arm triangle, Mike. Not good. Made a move with his arm up high. Moldavsky's got that head in the right place. He needs to just keep on bringing that pressure down, bring his hips. I think it was the wrestling of Phil Davis and just the threat of it is what caused Linton problems in that fight.
Point of this third and final round.
Moldavsky almost has what we call a gift wrap with the arm.
29-27 for the winner by unanimous decision, Valentin Moldavsky.
By far the biggest of his career, but he's in tough so far against Moldavsky, about to be taken down for the second time.
Yeah, right back down. He's got an arm triangle if he's able to switch to that side, but that fence is going to make it very difficult for it to work for him.
And he's threatening Ayala with the arm triangle.
Working hard to get back up, and then you're just put right back down to the canvas. It gets very, very frustrating. Combat Sambo is plain and simple. It's MMA done with a gi, headgear, shin guards, but they go after everything. Full strikes, full submissions. Ayala is just a little bit too big. And it's clear from what Moldavsky is doing is they had the game plan. Hey, we don't want to stand on the outside.
We will see the 8-0 Tyrell Fortune face the 12-6 Tim Johnson.
Posturing up to land heavier shots. That's what gives hobby. Whenever you have that separation, that's going to give you your moment to try to get yourself back out of the position.
Unanimous decision, Valentin Moldavsky.
I've always said that the guys that are the best heavyweight fighters are not the guys that are the huge bodies. The huge body takes a lot of energy to run. And when some of the guys that were able to keep a pace and maintain, you can look at the Stipe Miocics of today or the Keane Velasquez's. Those guys were 240 pounds, 235 pounds, 230 pounds. That's the size that you really want to see heavyweights at.
Kane was kind of that first guy that was the favorite, if you will, Josh. And Kane Velasquez pretty darn well.
Yeah, I trained with him for years on AK. We just saw him take a nice shot. Moldavsky ran right into Roy's hips and just got stuffed, but he came back up with some good punches and put Roy's back to the fence. What I see, honestly, the difference between the two things is Roy is kind of starting to slow down a little bit as the fight's going on, and Moldavsky's just getting warmed up. He's just touching and touching, not trying to do too much. He's not trying to swing for the fences, and he's having success.
So you've taken some shots, you've been pushing against another body. It's frustrating to see a guy feel that good.
That was a nice right hand that landed on the chin
He's just trying, Big Country's just trying to walk him down, trying to set him up for the big overhand right or the big shot to end this fight.
You see that left hand coming out by Roy. What Roy's trying to do with that left hand is force Moldavsky to move towards that power of the right hand.
Well, the key for Moldavsky is to fight him in a phone booth because he knows Roy needs a little bit of space to land the big shot, where Moldavsky doesn't need that because he's not carrying the same amount of weight.
Absolutely. You're taking a look at the shots that he's been hitting Roy with cleanly, especially inside. Look at that. That was elbow shots. That's what I was going to talk about. Those elbow shots are just adding up. There's one thing we know about Roy Nelson. He is just tough as a junkyard dog. He does not stop.
What he needs to do, though, is he needs to get his back off the fence and start making Moldavsky carry his weight. This is also another style that Roy has a hard time with. People that stick and move. He had a hard time with Matt Mitrione, Javier, doing this same type of work. Just touch, touch, go, touch, touch, go.
The winner by unanimous decision, Valentin Moldavsky.
Moldavsky moves to 5-0 inside the Bellator cage.
It seemed, John, Roy Nelson had the blueprint, but it was just impossible to execute.
Well, he had the blueprint and an idea of how to beat Moldavsky, but just having just the blueprint means one thing. Being able to execute that blueprint is another.
You think about those names, even, Daniel Cormier, Kevin Randall, that's a great name. Watch the head movement and the line with Tim Johnson, because this is what you were talking about, the difference in the two fights with Czech Congo. Those are good shots.
He's really got much better at taking his head and bringing it off the center line where it used to always be. Yeah, and they're all young fighters. That's the amazing part. And they listen to him. They believe in him. Nice job by Tim. See, this is the brawl that is a good thing for Tim Johnson.
Close first round, lean Moldavsky a little bit?
Yeah, it was a close round, but if you're looking at who landed the better, cleaner shots overall, Moldavsky was the guy that got it, but Tim had his moments. That was 2 shots in a row Tim Johnson just took.
Tough puzzle to figure out.
And you see, in just the movement that Moldavsky has in making Tim Johnson move. That's
the best shot so far for Tim Johnson.
That was a good shot by Tim.
Again, immediately goes to that, when he wants to be a dominant position, use that weight advantage after he gets Moldavsky hurt for a second. In Vegas.
Oh, there's a nice shot right there by Johnson.
Pretty good late second round, and now Tim Johnson fired up.
I gave it to Tim Johnson. Right now I have it even.
2 close rounds either way. Good combination from Moldavsky.
Absolutely might be. There's been a few guys, and you brought up one, Pat Milicic. He had a lot of champions too. But this group fighting for Team Fedor is pretty special.
Tim Johnson going all 25, putting on a show. A championship fight that delivered.
Now the interim Bellator heavyweight world champion, Valentin Moldavsky.
There was even doubt in the mind of Valentin Moldavsky. You could see the sigh of relief for a second. As Josh Thompson was saying earlier, there is no feeling like this one.